You know, back when I was in the academy, we would follow every toast with a song.
Chili scaldad, chili scaldad, chili cod, for our scaldad, chili scaldad, chili scaldad, chili cod, for our
It's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Come cheer up my nights, come cheer up my nights. It's better to have loved and lost. It's better to have loved and lost Captain John Lucas than never to have loved at all. The Federation Starship, come cheer up my nights, come cheer up my nights. It's better to have loved and lost Captain John Lucas. 1 7 3 4 6 7 3 1 4 7 6 Charlie 3 2 7 8 9 7 7 7 6 4 3 Tango 7 3 2 Victor 7 3 1 1 7 8 8 8 7 3 2 4 7 6 7 8 9 7 6 4 3 7 6. Lock. When I have plucked the rose, she a grey heart, longing still for that which longer nurseth the disease. In faith, I do not love thee. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? When I have plucked the rose, longing still for that which longer nurseth the disease. In faith, I do not love thee. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? 'Tis better to have loved and lost, never to have loved at all. Come cheer up my nights, come cheer up my nights. 'Tis better to have loved and lost. Incredibly unbroken sentence, moving from topic to topic. No one had a chance to interrupt. It was quite hypnotic. Incredibly unbroken sentence, moving from topic to topic. No one had a chance to interrupt. It was quite hypnotic.
Chili scaldad, chili scaldad, chili cod, for our scaldad.
That's an interesting twist.
And hello, chat. Hello, best chat. Hello. I hope everyone is doing fantastic, as always. We're always doing having a fantastic day, having a fantastic morning, at least if it's morning where you are. I know sometimes in some places, I know it's morning nonsense. But for me, and I know for some of you at the very least, it's just plain old morning nonsense. I hope that you're all doing fantastic nonetheless. So hello, everyone. Hello, Alexstar H. Lobo. Hello, Alexstar H. Lobo. Hello, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat, everyone. Welcome to the chat. More RM Master DX. Hello, RM Master DX. Morning, guys. Morning to you. Morning to you. Spitfire. Hello, Spitfire. I see you're back. Hope you had a fantastic rest of your day yesterday, and a happy birthday once again. I know it was yesterday, but I hope the rest of your day went fantastic. We had a wonderful birthday. Hello, Zofrats. Hello, welcome to the chat. Good morning, Best Devil and Best Chat. I finally got my hands on the Sandman comic. Oh, yes. Sandman. Fantastic work. One of the greater works actually opened the door for many people for comics anyway. It kind of opened the door for new people. People didn't really want to. People thought maybe comics were just kid stuff, or people thought comics were just superhero stuff. Neil Gaiman built a world that allowed new people into the comic book industry, and you can see some interesting interviews on that one, where Neil Gaiman was being interviewed about Sandman, and he was going, and big fat people with filthy shirts would come up to me and say, "Thank you, man. I gotta thank you very much for writing Sandman. For the first, I ran a comic book shop for 30 years, and because of your comic book, the Sandman. I finally have women in my comic book shop. Sandman brought all the women to the yard in comic books, according to what we saw. Because like I said, superhero comics are for men. It's mainly a draw-in for men. But thing is, Neil Gaiman's Sandman is not a superhero comic. Okay, it appeals to a general audience, more general, I would say, because it's not. It's less divisive than superhero comics. Because Sandman is all about the drama. It's a lot of classic writing is in there, so it appeals to both men and women. It's very good. It's very good. Anyway, let's see here. Samantha Dragon. Good morning, Samantha Dragon. Hello, hello. The numbers. Hello, good morning, the numbers. Hello, Benzi. Hello, good morning. I saw that you joined the. I remember you joined the membership yesterday, so welcome, welcome, and you also were very generous. Awesome. Hope you. I know you listened to this while you were out running, as you mentioned yesterday. Awesome, awesome. Let's see, Noble Commando. Hello, Noble Commando. Good morning. Good morning. All right, Servant Winston of Satania. Hello, welcome, welcome. Demon of Thy Sword. Welcome. Channel member, Demon of Thy Sword. Welcome, welcome. May we become better creators today than we were yesterday. Absolutely. Always, always. I would look to improve yourself. Okay, Chad, are you ready? Are you ready for some interesting stuff? And I hope some of you have your orc emojis ready. Because the orc news, this doesn't stop, Chad. It's an ongoing process. Neil, welcome, Neil. Hey, LD. Well, hello, Neil. Welcome, welcome. Let's see. Let's see here. Simpleton, oh great devil of the morning, allow us to one more day to perfect our nonsense arts. Absolutely, it's always it's a practice. You never get perfect, but you always get better. You always get better. Okay, pretty much anything in life. So fast, there you go. All the orcs, gotta bring in all the orcs. Hello, Blue. Welcome, Blue. Good morning, LD and best chat. Hello, Blue. Welcome to the chat. All right. All right. All right. All right. Let's see. Drunken mumble. A body's ready, though my mind is not. Welcome, Glib. Welcome, Glib. Oh, comfy time. Oh, yes. Fantastic. Fantastic. Uh, Space Junk, can they make fun of deers today? I wish, but I don't want to. I really don't want to. It's really disturbing. It's I don't know. It's like like I mentioned this yesterday. Yeah, I think I mentioned this last time we covered this. Was I believe it was yesterday, and that was remember when Caligula appointed his horse as consul. It was basically like that. It was kind of disturbing because it's taken as serious because this person is going to abuse the power. They pretty much came out and said, "Hey, I can't wait to abuse my power and just ban all the people I don't like because they're all." In their words, white supremacists and stuff. Like gamers are. There's not certain gamers, not a certain wing of gamers, but all gamers. All gamers are. If you are a far left lunatic, but also a gamer, apparently you're also white supremacist, according to this deer person. You don't hire deers, people. Okay, don't hire deer. Hire people. Hire normally functioning human beings. Don't hire deer. Okay. Okay, we're going to go down the street and this guy, and you hear a guy spouting off as like he's Abraham Lincoln or that he thinks he's Napoleon or something. Are you really going to hire that guy for any sort of and put him in any sort of a position of power? I don't think so. That'd be a very bad idea. But apparently, Twitch thought this was a good idea. Uh, Very bad idea. Anyone can tell. For some reason, I guess it's like that's why I tweeted out something like remember those old days when the king's cousin could just get any job, any important job, because he was the king's cousin and not because he actually had the mental faculties to actually do the job. So he got it anyway, despite the horrific inbreeding. That's where we are, Chad. That's where it seems we are, at least in the Twitch Safety and Trust and Safety Council, which by on its own already has a 1984 esque context, a kind of a 1984 esque feel to it. You know, the Ministry of Truth kind of lies to you. Trust and Safety Council is non trustworthy, and it's not there for your safety. It's there to control your thoughts. Not really all that great, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, hello, Shiny. Welcome, Shiny. You brought the Marmite. Fantastic. Very glad you brought the Marmite. Awesome, awesome. All right, chat. So You ready for this best chat? Let's go ahead and get into something easy. There's something. Let's just have a little warm up here. Okay, so some time ago, I mean, this kept going on and on and on and on and on, and this is why we have the orc emotion to begin with. A long time ago, some episodes ago, there was a weirdo who had a podcast and said he took a paragraph from I think D&D 5e, the fifth edition of of Dungeons and Dragons, and the paragraph pretty much boiled down to the orcs are not necessarily evil. They tend to like be raised in a society, in a social environment that invites them to be evil. But if they are domesticated orcs, they still have an underlying savagery, and it has a thin veneer of civility that can easily be broken. But they're not necessarily evil. They just happen to have an untamable savage nature to them. And this person, no, a normal person would look at that and say, "Okay, it's another species, it's orcs." But you're enlightened far left people, you're enlightened SJW people, enlightened NBC types. They saw that paragraph and said, "Hey, this is obviously minorities." This paragraph is highlighting orcs as a savage race that even in the confines of civilization can easily turn savage and start being savage again and start going off on raids or whatever. Uh, that's they saw that and said they didn't think, okay, this is another species. Of course, they thought this was obviously referencing minorities, obviously, but we're the racist ones here, Chad. We're the racist ones. We're the bad guys here. Obviously, we're the bad guys.
If you don't like my politics, don't buy my book.
You don't like my politics, you're a bigot, or something like that. That's why they don't want you to buy their books, Chad, by the way. Outlet Fredo's bookshelf. Thank you very much, too. Appreciate that. We are so inclusive now that we allow deer on jobs. Deer should not be given any other job except for, eating grass. That's all they're mentally capable of. Just have them eat grass. If you can hire them to eat grass, if you need some grass to be eaten, go ahead and hire this person. But if you don't. But anyway, chat. Anyway. What happened was that they saw this paragraph in the D&D 5th edition manual, and they said, "Hey, this paragraph detailing orcs as a naturally savage species." They saw that and said, "Hey, this is referencing minorities. This is obviously racist." And of course, everyone came out and said, "Well, you're racist for thinking that because there's no way any person with a normally functioning brain, would ever think this means minorities. Unless you didn't like minorities, and we can go in it's a whole other thing because they don't. These weirdos don't like minorities. They don't see them. They don't see minorities as the same people as they are, or as the same level as they are, and they don't like women. It's very strange. Whatever they accuse you of, they tend to be guilty of themselves. Let's see, Shiny FX. What are you talking? What are you talking about? You are the bad guy, the devil. Oh, absolutely, I am the bad guy. But they lump us all in together, Chad. They lump us all in together, and they want us all to be evil bigots, evil bad guys. We're all bad guys, Chad. But and then we had more and more stuff come out. A psychologist came out and said, it came out and said, no, psychologically speaking, no, these are not orcs. Minorities are not orcs. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. And he got the backlash. And I'm really surprised and relieved that he seemed to be capable of enduring that backlash. He did not bend the knee. He did not say, okay, I was wrong. I'm sorry. It totally is racist. Leave me alone. He didn't do that. He didn't back down. He did not back down. He held his ground and just mocked the people coming after him in huge waves. And then it came out that the guy who made the initial comment in the first place, the guy who came out and said that that paragraph meant that orcs were a dog whistle or whatever, said that D&D was not his game of choice and that he doesn't really play it at all. Of course he doesn't. Of course he doesn't. Of course he didn't, Chad. Of course he didn't. Because it always happens that way. It always happens that way. Every single time. I'm a Star Wars fan. Oh, what do you like about Star Wars? Nothing. I wanted it all to change. These people want to infiltrate, and we've seen this happen. They kind of infiltrate these fandoms so they can take it over. They infiltrate the fandom, and they cry and whine the loudest so that the people who create these fandoms, people in control, think that they are the majority, while the quote unquote toxic fans, which are the actual majority, which are the actual fans, are treated as the people who are the bad guys, the minority who are the toxic minorities that they sometimes put it, when it's absolutely not the truth. It's the other way around. But they want to take it over. They want to turn Picard into this spineless old man. They want to turn Luke Skywalker into a disenfranchised loser. They want to turn him into this guy who just gives up everywhere. 13-year-old emo kid. They want to turn the Doctor into something totally different than what he should be. They want to turn everything woke. And so they do that by infiltrating the fandom, and because they want to appeal to the fans. I don't know. It's a very difficult thing. It's a very disturbing thing.
I know it seems silly to cry about Captain Marvel or Star Wars or The Last Jedi. You can't stop until they change what they're doing, until they wake up and realize that they're destroying people. They're taking away our balls.
Yeah, as Ethan Van Sciver puts it, they infiltrate these fandoms so they can take away your balls. Nico Taiko, toxic fans, rise up. Absolutely. As Doom Kakoi says, stay angry, friends. Stay angry. Let's see here. Alex Halo, welcome, Alex Halo. Welcome. Good morning to you. Good morning. Let's see. Okay, Chad. So when we after that, first of all, it was the guy pointing out the paragraph. He said, "This is totally racist," and everyone said, "No, it wasn't." And the psychologist came out and said, "No, it wasn't." And they tried to discriminate against the they tried to discourage and discredit the psychologist. And then the guy said, "You know what? I don't even play D&D. It's just racist or whatever." That's how that went. And then now we have something new. We have something new, chat. Something new. Man who claimed orcs are racist wants more racism in the Witcher tabletop RPG. Strange how that goes, isn't it? Let's check it out. Chat. Monkey's Paw Gamers creator Nicholas Masick wants more racism in the Witcher tabletop RPG after claiming orcs are racist. Masick was one of the antagonists of the. I like to call him an antagonist. He's one of the antagonists of the recent orcs are racist controversy, and made repeated comments like, "Point out racism isn't the real racism. You unseasoned saltines." And the language of racial otherness and oppression being used to describe non-human fantasy characters such races isn't an accident. Yeah, it totally said that. Oh yeah, they're obviously these are stand-ins for the people. Now, obviously, as the psychologist said and alluded to, the fantasy races, yeah, they're inspired by real life events because you write what you know. But they're not stand-ins for anything. And if orcs were stand-ins for anything, they'd be the darkest portions of Viking raids, not minorities, as they are. These weirdos are so desperate to be pushing on people. Not exactly the same thing. Not exactly the same thing. Anyway, let's keep going here. Let's see. So yeah, that's his tweet. Messick would continue writing. Orcs aren't human, so it's okay to use dehumanizing, othering, racist language to describe them. Yes, because they're not human. They don't the same descriptors as you would give to a human are not the same descriptors you would give to an orc. They're different. Okay, orcs can be taller. It can be larger. Who knows? They can be more hardier. They can be more savage. They have a more savage nature to them. It's not saying that humans are savage because they're orcs. They're another species altogether. Not everything's about you, It is being orc-phobic. A language to describe them as subhuman is the same line that that 6 F'ers used to justify saying that same language on real people. They aren't human, so it's okay. The orcs aren't human, though. They're not even real. First of all, they're mythical creatures that exist in a fictional game. Second of all, they're not human characters. Not even a little bit. I think I brought on the loading crew to help me out to walk through this, and his whole channel is about D&D. Orcs are not a subhuman race. Okay, orcs are not even a humanoid as far as I know. Maybe they are humanoid, but they are what's called goblinoid according to the loading crew. They're not even like they're not a subhuman race. They are a goblinoid race. So they're just looking for trouble. It's looking for something to complain about. And let's see here. DJ voice. Sometimes orcs can be mushrooms. See, it can be the orcs can be anything. Orcs can be pretty much anything, and they can function differently than human beings can. They go from there's a nature to how they think to even biologically, in many respects. Let's see. SOG-01, all orcs identify as attack helicopters. Yes, that's that could be actually true if you want to, because orcs are not real. These are the same people, by the way. The same mentality. I say it's science fiction. You can do whatever you want. So Ryan Johnson's creation was amazing. Ryan Johnson did a fantastic job on The Last Jedi. And welcome. Hello, voice in the radio.
Hello.
It's with me.
Hello. I have returned.
Welcome. Let's see. Do you remember? Do you know the whole orc debacle? About the whole orc thing? Did you know about the whole orc thing that's been going on for the weeks now? I think it was over a month now. Just won't leave it alone.
Oh my goodness.
But
orcs aren't human, so it's okay to use dehumanizing other racist language to describe them as subhuman. It's the same line as 6 Fs just used to justify using that same language on real people.
Now, when they talk about 6 Fs, I don't know what 6 Fs actually are, but
Really?
I think I think they're probably like referring to actual racists or whatever. If they are, then those guys are just referring to other human beings. When we're calling orcs subhuman, we're referring to orcs, which are not human beings. They're not human at all. They're, according to the loading crew, they're a goblinoid species. Like they're not even remotely human. Not even remotely. Hatch 450SX identifies Palpatine. Awesome. Always identify as Palpatine. He's the best senator ever. He's the most honest anyway. Insult to the human race. So I can ridicule you before I block you. Case number 98,538 and we're the bad guys here. And we're the bad guys here? Yeah. They're the ones calling us racist. They're the ones spouting off their bigotry or whatever in the guise of defending people. And that's how it kind of goes. The fulcrum shift. The orcs are racist debate is proof HOWs can't tell fantasy from reality. Yeah, it kind of does. It was connected back to people or racism or whatever.
How did this stream of thought even start, where people looked at orcs and said, black people?
Racists.
Yeah.
People who said they fight against racism. People who say they try to point out racism where they find it. That's where they began with they're actual racists.
If all you see is race, if all you can connect to anything is race, you are racist. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's true. These people are actually the actual racists, but they call us the racists.
Who's racist? The people who looks at orcs and go, yeah, they're horrible people, or the people that looks at an orc and goes, reminds me of a black man.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure it's the people who say that they look at orcs and say, wait a minute, this is obviously minorities. Because I'm pretty sure most people who look at orcs, because orcs have been around a long time, look at orcs and say, these are orcs. I want to go kill these things. Orcs are there so you can chop through without any guilt. You can just go ahead and kill a bunch of orcs in probably the most inhumane way possible. For the most humane to the most inhumane way possible, and not feel guilty about it because they're orcs. They're just there to be evil antagonists. I see the sushi guy. Thank you much for the 20 knocks. The SJWs just want something to complain about. Yeah, essentially the whole thing. They want something to complain about because that's how they get power. They get powered by eating other people. And by eating other people, I mean they just go around trying to destroy other people's lives, destroy people's livelihoods, and try to dominate other hobbies and things so that they can gain clout for themselves. Under the guise of being good guys. And the guys of being good guys, of course. DJ M Voice, thank you much too. Appreciate that. How long before we get a Tropes versus Works channel? Let's see here. And you know what? Lord Commander Dunn. He's another one of the people we stream with. He is a fantasy writer. I don't know if Glib and Shiny are still in the chat, but Glib and Shiny, tell Lord Commander Dunn to make a channel called Tropes versus Orcs. Okay, because he's a fantasy writer and he knows this stuff better than we do. So I don't know, Shiny, Glib, if you're in the chat, tell Lord Commander Dunn immediately that he wants to start a YouTube channel. Have him start a YouTube channel called Tropes vs. Orcs right now. Right now, I mean, hopefully before the stream is over. I want this channel up and running. This is absolutely true. SJWs love to project. They claim to be virtuous, but they are the most odious, repugnant people on the inside. They're kind of like the Pharisees. The Pharisees from the Bible. They pretend to be the most religious, the most virtuous, but they do so for not because they're actually devout, but because they want to use how wonderful they are to kind of up their scale of what kind of good people they are. Glib, awesome. You are awesome. Thank you very much, Glib. Appreciate that. Awesome. 5 shekels. Awesome. So orcs are a metaphor for the SJW. Essentially, yes, because I think one of the things we went over was Tolkien's look on his inspiration for orcs, and that is orcs. They don't represent a people. Orcs never represented a specific race, even though he's been accused of racism for his depiction of orcs. Orcs depicted, according to Tolkien, the evil savagery that exists in all people, the evil warlike need for war that exists in all people. And he said that orcs exist on both sides when he described World War II. Orcs exist on both sides. It means that there are people on both sides that really enjoy war too much, that really enjoy the savagery and the violent nature of war too much. And that idea of liking war too much, of enjoying war too much, of enjoying the violence and the savagery of war, that is the nature of the orc. And while D&D was inspired more from Conan, the nature of D&D was. We get to see some influences from Tolkien because Gygax did read Tolkien. He just didn't like it all that much, and I tend to agree with him. I mean, if I were to, it would be if I were given the choice between Tolkien and Howard, I would choose Howard every time. I would choose Conan every time. So the orcs a metaphor for SJWs? Essentially, yes. That might have been a joke, but according to Tolkien's perspective, anyway, that's essentially true. The savagery, the evil nature of human beings, the evil nature that human beings can buy into, that is the orcish nature, the worst part of us. Zofrat, LD's putting people to work, so evil. Oh, absolutely evil. Absolutely evil. There's nothing is more evil than putting someone to work. Thank you for that. Now, Enzo the Human Rays, thank you much for the 5. Appreciate that. Here's your shekels, Glib. Now hop to it. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for the Enzo the Human Rays. Appreciate that. I will totally give these to Glib. Totally.
Absolutely.
As you know, devils never lie. God of Plague, thank you much for the 2. A steampunk, heavy metal, Beauty and the Beast. That sounds interesting. That sounds really cool. Is that an actual thing, by the way? Is that an actual thing? That sounds really cool. I would, as long as they have guests on in there also, I'll definitely give that a view if that is a real thing. Let's see. So, yeah. So essentially, yeah, the SJWs, the orcs, same thing. Orcs are more akin to SJWs than they are towards any minority race. Any minority race.
Which is good. It means that anyone can be a horrible warmongering piece of shit, which is actually really inclusive.
Yeah, it's very inclusive. Very inclusive, actually. So well done on the Dungeons and Dragons part. Well done on Tolkien's part. DJ and Voices, well, orcs weren't adverse to feeding on their own at times, so pretty much SJWs. Yeah. Meat's back in the menu, boys. Meat's back on the menu. But here we have the guy who actually started this whole orc debacle thing, coming back and commenting on The Witcher, saying that the Witcher isn't actually racist enough. They need more racism in this thing, according to this guy. So he went on to write, if you think it's still okay for in 2020. Oh, current year argument. Fantastic.
Why did he have to type out the words 2020? Couldn't he have just put the numbers in?
Was more pretentious that way. So one thing the SJWs cannot withstand is the temptation to be as pretentious and arrogant as possible. So, of course, he had to write it out.
2020 in words. It's like, dude, 4 numbers. It's fine.
Absolutely. Gotta write that out, chat. You gotta write that out. Okay, so this guy apparently wants some more racism. So, if you think it's still okay in 2020 to justify race science, biological, no one brought this into this equation. Okay, it's just orcs.
It's just fucking orcs.
It's just orcs. It's not
They're
race
relatively
realism or whatever.
uncomplicated as a concept. Yeah,
You have to bring in
bad people.
You have to bring in this weird science stuff. It's just orcs.
And
Okay.
This is kind of overlooking any time where orcs can be painted in a positive light. So Dungeons and Dragons, you decide to play a good orc.
Yeah, you could totally be a good orc. That's in fact the whole entire paragraph this sparked off said that orcs were actually not evil, and even named like another species like gnolls or whatever that were evil. Yeah, it's just orcs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play this clip real quick because it really feeds into this. It really highlights the absurdity of this whole mindset. We'll get back to the article after this, but it's really enjoyable. Check this out, chat. I've played this before, but just in case you haven't seen it before, here it is again. Make sure it's everything. Yep, here we go.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys.
I am so sorry. I promise we don't all think you're like that.
What the fuck?
It's true though.
So this nice soy boy guy turns to a black woman and say he's watching an orc on screen devour a fellow orc that he just murdered. And he turns to a black woman and says, "We don't all think you're like that." Wow, how racist!
You made that connection, sir, not me.
Well, I'm pretty sure. To me, that seems like the racist guy to me. The guy who would see that savagery in the movie and then say, "I'm sorry, we don't all think like that" to a black woman. But that's essentially what happened here. It's essentially what happened here, and they won't leave it alone. It says, if you still think it's okay in 2020 to justify race science, biological determinism, and dehumanizing, degrading language to describe non-human fantasy species, or use racial tension as a plot point, give me a heads up so I can ridicule you before I block you. It's a really good plot point because they're not human. They're a different species with different everything because they're not human. You silly person. I use the term person here very loosely.
It would be correct to describe them as non-human because they are not human.
Yeah, especially because they're described in the book as goblinoid, not humanoid. According to Loading Crew, anyway. According to Loading Crew, which helped me go through this in the first place. Let's see. So, Crew Imagination, orcs. Yes, the orc emojis. Got to get the orc emojis up there.
We need an orc dance emote.
I mean, how is describing orcs racist? Just because you might highlight something I don't know, that the 95% that orcs make up 20% of the population but commit 95% of pillage raids doesn't mean it's racist. Okay, they're another species altogether. Okay, pillage raids has nothing to do with orcs. Just because they only make up 20% of the population but commit 90% of the village raids doesn't mean it's racist. Okay. He would then write, I think the language used to describe fantasy orcs in the same language used to dehumanize black people. Really? Really? So racist, and you put the funny faces. The funny faces. We gotta watch this podcast, chat. It's probably filled with gold. It's probably a gold mine. Next is 906. Thank you much too. Appreciate that. So can dwarves and elves not hate each other now? I guess not. I don't even know what are dwarves. I don't know what dwarves would be in woke speak. I know
even if this was true, isn't this world building anyway?
Yeah, take inspiration from real life races. But the thing is, as I mentioned earlier, orcs are not. Even if in that case, orcs are not minorities. I mean, orcs would be. I mean, in their minds, orcs would not be minorities, or in their minds, black people. And in all actuality, if you take in the what orcs are usually doing, which is raiding and pillaging, they're pretty much just early century Vikings,
Yeah.
pillaging the English countryside.
I mean, yeah.
So not
Go,
black
go
people.
around burning down the straw huts and taking the women.
Exactly. And
That sounds like something barbarians do.
contrary to NPC belief, Vikings were not black; they were white. They're very,
Yeah.
very white.
Well,
They're
they come from Scandinavian territories, so yeah.
Yeah, they're very, very white. They're from Scandinavia. Okay, so if you were to make that comparison, it would not be, in their terms, black people. It would be these very, very white Vikings that you could equate orcs to, in the real world anyway. See, Ben Z, thank you much too. Lit, that is the most perfect impression ever. I got you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
You know what? I find it, because I'm from the West Country, so I find it offensive that all of the hobbits have a West Country accent and like big hairy feet and aren't very bright and live in a very isolated bubble. I resent that because it offends me.
Everyone in West Britain or West England or whatever, all those
I
people
grew up in Somerset, so I'm upset when people talk as if the hobbits talk as if they're from where I'm from.
Obviously, the hobbits are meant to represent the people who live in Somerset, which means that everyone who lives over there is obviously a lazy person who just smokes weed all day and eats.
Right, Mr. Frodo?
Mr. Frodo.
We don't all sound like that.
See, Zofrats, elves need a kiss a dwarf day. Probably wouldn't hurt. Elves tend to be pretty arrogant. Pretty arrogant folk, even if they're the most, regardless of whether they're the good elves or the evil elves. They tend to be arrogant nonetheless, because it is better than everyone. But again, it's not supremacy. They just kind of are, because they're supposed to be like a really not racist. Yeah, they actually tend to be racist. Yeah, they tend to be racist, but they also tend to be very wise because they're very ancient. They're very an ancient race, and usually, in most respects. I say, Demon My Sword. If orcs were black people in the canon, then there would not be black people in the canon. Yeah, there are black people in the canon. Like there are black people. You can be a black human. Like you can play a black human in D&D. It's totally possible. It doesn't make any difference unless you put in difference. I think there's like supplements that make that you can if like in Game of Thrones, if you're a black guy, you can be from a different country and you have like different feats or something. Because you have different, but that means you have different countries, not because they have different races.
Imagine that you sat down to D&D. You're like, all right, describe your character. Okay, so my character is he's a cleric. He wears robes. He's black. You're an orc then. What the fuck? No,
I said I'm a black human.
No,
So you're an orc.
guy.
Yeah, like I said, orc. This obviously in D&D, orcs are black people. What? Since when? Orcs are orcs. Black people
You
are.
can either be white or an orc. You can't have both.
Yeah, you could either be white or you could be an orc. Okay. According
This
to
is
these
the worst
weirdos,
game of D&D ever.
it's apparently how these weirdos think. Okay, you're either white or an orc because D&D is a racist. Okay, so I don't know why did he even play that game in the first place. Well, this guy admits he does not play the game. Obviously, he's just pretending to be one of these people who's he's concern trolling people. That's what it's called, concern trolling.
Yeah.
You get this all the time if you're an independent creator. You get concern trolled. What about this? Oh my! Clutch my pearls around you. The pearls that my trust fund daddy gave me. Alex Halo, thank you very much too. Hentai loves elves. Well, that's comforting. Suge01, orcs are dorks. You know what? Because orcs can be anything. Because they're orcs. As long as it remains consistent in your particular version of the canon, orcs can be anything. And see the numbers. What if I want to play Khajiit? Well, you can't because no civilized person plays a Khajiit because those are the scum of the earth. So Khajiit should just Khajiit are just people you don't want to be with. They are just awful human. They are just awful people. They're not human. They are these weird cat people, and of course they should be exterminated or whatever. So just. I'm pretty sure they'd say Khajiit are racist too, because everything is racist. Everything is racist. But let's see here. Now Misk is claiming he wants more racism in R. Tosarian's games, The Witcher TTRPG, written by Cody Pondsmith. First, you have a Kibblesmith. Then we have some Pondsmiths. Okay. Let's see. So Mark Misk's recent comments come after Twitter user Amoraz shared a photo from the Witcher TRPG revealing a chart that shows how certain races are viewed within the Witcher franchise. The If you didn't know, The Witcher is a dark fantasy. So of course there's going to be like racial tensions between actual different races, like elves and humans and stuff. That's not surprising.
It creates the politics of the world, which is actually a big deal in The Witcher. Not to mention, you play a character who is basically shunned by almost every race because he is that different.
Like, did I get my Mark McReaper? Did you play button yet? A no, unfortunately. I think it's because I'm a bad guy, chat. YouTube has not even offered me. I looked it up too. They said they like to uphold the fact that YouTube can, in their words, choose whether or not they reserve the right to choose whether or not you can who gets one or not. So I might not even get one, which is kind of strange because even Sargon of Akkad got one, and they hate that guy. They demonetized his entire channel, but he gave him one. I guess they learned their lesson before. I guess they learned the lesson. I don't get one, chat. I don't think I get one. But you know, I guess it's their decision, I suppose. But it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get one. Let's see here. So, for fans unfamiliar with the Witcher series, the series examines themes of racism not based on characters' skin color, but on their species and other features. In fact, conflicts between species, humans, and non-humans. Okay, I don't know. I haven't read the rest of this article, but I'm pretty sure. I'm going to go ahead and guess that his comments rely on that they need to have more racial tensions in there to show that because this guy already, connects fake races to actual real world races. He wants more representation of racist struggles in there, like race struggles in there. So if he sees elves as something, or he sees if he sees, for example, elves as white people, he wants elves to be treated like white people, like he sees white people in the show. If he sees orcs as black people, he wants the orcs to be seen. He wants orcs to be portrayed as black people in the show. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here. He wants racial tensions, real world racial tensions, reflected in the show, which is called politicization, which is exactly what we've been crying about. Which is actually what we've been crying against, shouting against or arguing against, right? Is the politicization of these things. Is because when we say we don't want politics in these shows, we don't want politics in our comic books, we're really saying we want these things to not be politicized anymore. Now you can say that. You can have a message, you can have an underlying message, but we don't want the politicization of these things going on. Let's see.
Not to mention, how dull would it be if it was like just the same politics as like real life? This is high fantasy. You can go like one step beyond.
Yeah, we don't need to be reminded of real life politics because, first of all, it's real life politics, and second of all, if you want a show to maintain its relevancy, past the first episode, you're gonna have to give it more a timeless political slant, not just today. This is what's going on today, and so we need to have it reflect modern politics. That's not it's not a good idea if you want your show to last, or if you want
no one expresses hatred in real life towards harpies and orcs because they don't fucking exist.
They're fake races. They're fantasy races. For example, harpies in some iterations are really, really ugly and horrific. Now, if you go to Warcraft, there's harpies in there, and they're physically appealing. They made them physically appealing. So they're different. They're different.
Don't you hate it when fucking harpies fly overhead and just decide to shit on you because they're racist? It's like, yes, I hate that. You see, we don't have that kind of problem in real life.
Yeah, there's no skin color that gives you the ability to fly over people.
Because the hatred towards races in a fantasy world can be derived from something we would never experience in real life.
Yeah, you can take, like, for example, like the example you just gave. Like, I don't like harpies because they fly over you and they poop on you. It's a very
and then the harpies go, we don't all do that.
Yeah, we don't not all harpies poop on people, okay? So only some do. And so you can get that, and that's okay because it's pertained narratively. It's narratively relevant to the world. But you're trying to like shoehorn in real world politics into a fantasy world. You're going to turn off a lot of viewers because you don't want that. That's called politicization, and that's the thing we don't want in modern works is politicization. Baptist 702, welcome to the chat. The thing about Geralt is that he's apolitical. He acts more like a truly honorable hero, saving lives, sleeping with sexy women, and maintains a muscular, appealing body. Yeah, yeah. From what I've heard about Geralt, he's just there to be the good guy in most respects. Yeah, the games may be different, but I think Geralt is usually the guy who comes in. He's the most heroic entity anyway. He's like the hero relative to the world he lives in.
He's the good guy if you pay him enough, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And non-humans can see as a metaphor for racism in the series. For example, Geralt of Rivia is quite often discriminated against because he is a mutant. Netflix's The Witcher shows Lauren S. Hisrich strictly explains The Witcher is really interesting when it comes to depicting racism because it's about species, not skin color. And the NPC HW weirders, they don't like that at all. They want it to be about skin color. They want to always boil it down to skin color. She adds, what makes characters other is the shape of their ears, height, etc. In the books, no one pays attention to skin color. In the series, no one does either. Period. Misk would respond with this chart, writing, "I feel that these games don't lean into the racial hatred enough. If we're finna,
I suppose it's supposed to be gonna talk about.
If we're going to talk about how much I'm hated in the north of being an elf, I want to know the degree for which I'm hated. This game has a 30-step flowchart for hitting someone with a sword. I want one for racism. Of course you do. See, exactly what he wants. Real world stuff. He wants more race. He wants more focus on racism because that's what he wants. That's what they're focused on. That's what their whole entire thing is. Racism. Everything is racism. That's all they see is race. So what people want to say, well, racism in The Witcher is probably just like an element that you deal with that makes the world feel more alive, more lived in, more dark fantasy. And you're just there for the sword combat and the killing of monsters. This guy is there for the racism.
You're gonna if you're playing The Witcher, like I've only played a little bit of The Witcher 3. So if you're playing that game, you're going to experience that in some way anyway, because you're playing the character of Geralt, who is a Witcher. And because he's a Witcher, he's stronger, he's faster, he can use magic. And because of that, people fear him. So they distance themselves from him as much as possible. They call him a brute because he kills monsters for a living. And they want nothing to do with him because of, that persona as a Witcher, which is inherently true. It's still mildly racist, but you will experience that. And there's a good reason for it. You're not going to get a 30-step walkthrough for why fucking Elrond the blacksmith in that one fucking village doesn't get much in the way of customers because he's an elf. Because
it's pretty easy, right? It's pretty easy. I mean, you don't need a flow chart. If they're like more racist against elves and any other part of the country or whatever, then
I don't want my weapon forged from the dainty hands of an elf.
Yeah, one piece of dialogue.
The
We get it.
bearded soldier.
One piece of dialogue, and we understand where they're coming from. We understand that okay, we don't really like elves in this part of the town. We don't need a flow chart like we do in combat. Okay, combat is more complex in the Witcher games. I played the first one for a bit. It's more complex. You have like different stances. You have different swords. You have 2 swords, one to use against humans, one to use against monsters. That sort of thing. It's about the combat. I'm not there for the racism. It's just the element that's there. Racism is kind of easy to comprehend in the world because, as you said, you might come across a guy who says, "I don't want my weapon forged by this filthy elf." Okay, racism established. We get it. We don't need a flowchart to understand why this guy is racist. And we can, like, for example, if there's different countries we can go to, one land that's more accepting of elves. We can go to another land that's more racist against elves. And while we're in that land, we can kind of get the hint. Okay, we can understand the differences in ideology there. I see Hatch 450SX in Russia 2. Do you see a poke bitch going after Ridge Wallet? I did not. I don't even know who that is. I know Ridge Wallet. Ridge Wallet is a sponsor who actually sticks by all the bad guys. They actually don't. They're actually there for money. They're not there for politics. So Ridge Wallet I know is a good guy, as far as I know. So I'm guessing this poke person is on the right side of history, we'll say, or considers himself to be on the right side of history. Let's see, Insulting Racing, which is 5, appreciate that. From Christopher Cole, only an SJW would complain about something not being racist enough in order to complain about how racist it is. Yeah, the circular thinking. Could you make this thing more racist so I can complain about how racist it is? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they want the orcs to. I'm pretty sure that like this guy who complained about orcs being depicted as quote unquote black people in D&D was disappointed that it wasn't it wasn't a more clear connection, because that's what they want. Like the whole debacle many years ago, several years ago, about the political bakers, how they refused to make a cake for a gay couple for the wedding. They'll serve them. They just didn't want to make a cake for the wedding day. They want to cater to it. They didn't want to cater to a gay wedding, and they got smeared as bigots. This excited them because finally we have found some actual bigots. We got some bigots over here because it's in short supply. So what they really want is a clear, definitive connection that these things are racist, so they can be the good guy. But it's hard to find. Like these things are the things that they're looking for. It's really hard to find because it's not so clear anymore. Like the orcs are not racist, but they need them to be racist so that they can complain about it. So, but they need them anyway. They're so desperate for them anyway that they just go ahead and run with it. It's kind of like when a company. Well, it's kind of like Warcraft 3 Reforged, the whole debacle, where they just complain about a game before it's done. Like, we just need to sell it anyway. We don't care if it's not done yet. We're just going to sell it anyway. I'm just going to say it's racist anyway and see how well that runs. And you see, Christopher Cole, there's not enough racism in fiction for SJW to complain about how racist it is. Yeah, exactly. It's not enough anymore. It's kind of a dry well for them to go to. Let's see here.
They need to make it racist so they can talk about it more.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, this is a long article. I don't think we're going to go through it all. But essentially, he said he's complaining about the guy who complained about orcs being racist in D&D. Is complaining about how The Witcher isn't putting more focus on how racist everything is, and giving him like a flow chart on how racist everything is, and instead of the actual monster slaying and The Witcher. Like he wants the show to be about racism, not about killing monsters and stuff. Let's see what actually this says. Let me see if it's it's a whole podcast. They linked the whole podcast here. We're not going to watch it yet. We're going to watch it today. We'll maybe watch it tomorrow or whatever. But I guess that we have access to the whole podcast. But they link it down here again. Let me see here. This is 20 minutes.
Oh, this is a short clip.
So the orcs or racist people are at it yet again. But this time they're going after The Witcher instead of Dungeons and Dragons. I really wish these people would get the fuck out of my hobby. And by these people, I'm not referring to minorities, women, or the alphabet community. I'm referring to people who want to suck the fun out of everything.
I'm pretty sure that's almost a universal.
The emphasis reverb on suck.
I'm pretty sure this is a shared sentiment between lots of people these days. Okay, attention everyone who wants to just go around ruining everything. Could you just stay out of my hobby? Just get out of here. Okay, if you want to participate, fine. But if you're just here to ruin everything, just call everything racist, get out of my hobby. You're just ruining everything, all ruining the fun for everyone. And here's the irony: the people who are stepping in to ruin the fun for everyone are the same people who tell us to shut up because we just need to let people enjoy things. So when it's something they like, okay, we just need to let people enjoy things. When it's something they don't like, they need to step in and ruin everything and change everything about it. We're not allowed to speak, I guess. Nova Zero, thank you for 5. Appreciate that. No, you don't understand. It's racism not because they're different races, but because one's more effeminate looking and the skin tone is different. Shh. Yeah, exactly. So it's not racism because they're different races, but because one is more effeminate. The skin tone is different. Yeah, it's not because it's racism because they're orcs. It's because they're black people. Yeah. Yeah. You go pick up your racism and you can get out of my hobby. Let's see here. Glib, what do you mean by these people? Yeah, exactly. What do you mean by these people? What do you mean by these people? That's another thing. They recently discovered Robert Downey Jr.'s blackface in Tropic Thunder, and they went on a rampage about it. Like, I cannot believe that Robert Downey Jr. would play blackface in this day and age. And it was funny.
It wasn't this day and age, but okay.
Yeah, it wasn't this day and age, first of all. They just discovered it. Because, I mean, they stopped reading Harry Potter, so they're discovering new things for once in their lives. Let's see. Christopher Cole, SJWs are racist against fun. Yeah, that's a pretty accurate description. They are racist against fun. If you're having fun, they don't like it. They're bitter, angry people.
Bad. What do you find fun is racist now?
Yeah. What do you find fun? I don't know.
I like riding my bike. Racism.
And whatever you find fun, it's racist. I don't care what it is. I'm going to find a way to make it racist because you find it
riding
fun.
bikes. Do you know who can't ride bikes? People with only one leg. How dare you, you ableist piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly. In the HW mindset, it's not what you find fun isn't racist. It's racist to them because you find it fun. Like if you find something fun, they're going to find a way to make it racist or sexist or whatever. They're going to make you an istophobe. At the very end of the day. Alex R. H. Lobo, which is a focal point, is mostly on exploration of the Witcher world, and the combat and lore and racism, and the racism there is just a small thing that's just added. Yes, what I've heard about The Witcher is like a big open world game, a very, very, very open world. Like I heard there was like basically Witcher 2 is like 2 games because you can make a choice that takes you down 2 completely different paths. It's not like Telltale's where you choose one option and like the character's shirt is different or something. It's an actual different branching path.
To make things easier in D&D, from now on, can we not have elves and orcs and dwarves? Can we just have grey blobs?
Yeah, everyone just be grey blob. That's what they want. They want everything to be genderless and raceless and all that stuff. They want
everything. A brand new race. They are blobs that are grey. Totally different to the grey blobs we saw earlier.
No, absolutely. It does still say it's racist somehow. These grey blobs obviously relate to the...
too grey and too blobby.
Yeah, they obviously relate to feminists. These giant gelatinous gray blobs are obviously a dog whistle to people who hate feminists. Okay, see, Baptist 702. They knew about RDJ's blackface, but they just knew they couldn't hit him because he was a major star in the MCU. Yeah, now that he's done being a star in the MCU, now they can hit him with it. That's where they hit you when you're the most vulnerable.
Welcome back, Pixel Nation. Comics Division here. How the hell are you? Well, this is a continuation of the orcs are racist thing. And they're not. And if you're going to say orcs are racist, you better come with some fucking proof.
Yeah, and you can't really come up with psychology stuff because the psychologists disagree with this notion as well. And they try to cancel him for it. See, Alex Halo, the University 2, these are the same people. These are the same people say there is no Yuri or Yaoi in anime, and later complain that the Yuri and Yaoi is bad because the wrong people support it. Yeah, they have no principles, so they change their quote unquote principles based on who likes what. Oh, the bad guys like this now. The heathens, the infidel likes this now. Oh, suddenly it's bad. The glib orcs are racist though. They hate white men. They do. They hate humans in general. So they are technically racist. They themselves are. Nova Zero, thank you much for the fire. Appreciate that. Can't you see that elves are supposed to be about white privilege? I'm just waiting for them to say that. I'm waiting for them to make this argument. I know they will eventually, especially because this orc stuff just keeps getting in the way. And the loyal dark elves are all about the repressed minority. Yeah. Good luck with that one, SHW community. Good luck with that one. They call it dark elves. So remember, dark elves are this evil, poisonous people like worship a spider queen or something. Or something. I don't know. But they're supposed to be evil. Dark elves are dark elves for a reason. In fact, even in D&D lore, I remember there's a character called Dritz or something who's a dark elf. And he's unique because he's not evil. He's both a dark elf and not evil. So good luck with that, SHWs. Good luck with that one. Let's see how you tackle this.
But I'm going to clue you in. There isn't any. Now, the evidence they're trying to cite is that they're using the language of colonizers to describe orcs, and therefore this translates into real world racism, because it doesn't.
The language of colonizers. Okay. Yeah, let's bring that out of nowhere. Therefore, orcs are racist.
Wait, the orcs are colonizers, or
I guess I don't know what the colonizers are the bad guys. I guess colonizers are all the Americas and the countries who did colonizing. They that's what in Black Panther. That's what the Black Panther's sister called Martin Freeman's character, colonizer. Basically, it's like another word for racist white guy, I guess, or something. I don't know.
which makes no sense, because why would she call him a colonizer if Wakanda has never been
colonized? Exactly.
And they've never seen the outside world.
I'm not up to date with all the demented SJW lingo.
Also, didn't they, as a group of people in Wakanda, didn't they literally colonize 4 countries and then stop?
Yeah, Wakanda was a pretty kind of like tyrannical or like xenophobic nation, if I remember correctly. From what I've heard, because I couldn't finish the movie, I kind of fell asleep during the middle of it, which is rare because I never sleep. So that shows you how boring the movie was. But yeah, if I remember, from what I remember, they were all the worst aspects of. I mean, they were all the aspects that SJWs say the Republicans are evil. Like they had to what they call Republicans and right wingers evil for. Wakanda had those same ideas, but it was okay when they did it because they were the right skin color, I guess. Insult to Human Race, which is 5 from the Servant of Satania. Oh, so you like to watch the paint dry? You mean you like to stare at one color instead of multiple diverse colors? Racist, exactly. If your idea was having fun was watching paint dry, they would say that you liking watching I don't know, white paint dry. The dog whistles to white supremacy. They would say, oh, you like to, what's your favorite color? The color of paint you like to watch dry? I don't know, a blue. Well, it's obviously you are fetishizing the skin color of minorities because you like to watch the blue blue paint dry, and minorities have blue skin. Which minority has blue skin? It's obviously a connection to XYZ minority race. Yeah, so you're right on there. Whatever it is, whatever hobby you're into, whatever thing causes you to smile and have fun, they will find a way to make it sexist or racist or bigoted in some way. I like to watch paint dry. What color paint do you like to watch dry? I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me. Oh, so you don't care. It's not important to you. You're just someone who's a soulless heathen who doesn't care about today's problems. What a racist. So just check your privilege. Take your privilege, okay? There are real problems in the world. Check your privilege, and you have to determine what color of paint you like to watch dry, and then you get your favorite color, and they'll call you racist because you picked the wrong one. I don't care which color you pick; it's going to be the wrong one.
This is a fictional race, or I should say species, of being. And this whole argument just falls apart. But of course, if you disagree with what they're saying, you're an ideological enemy, and therefore you're going to be called a, what was it? What did he call that psychology professor? Oh yeah, a slavery apologist. Yes.
Yeah, because the psychology professor says, no, orcs are not racist because the orcs are not XYZ minority. And so the guy who said orcs are racist is called that guy a slavery apologist and a supporter of spanking for some reason. I don't know why that. Someone told me why that was brought up. I forgot why that was brought up though. But they kept putting he's a slavery apologist, he's a racist, and a supporter of spanking on the same level of degeneracy for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe he's in favor of spanking children, which is you probably should. According to psychologists, a spankologist, the one service to Tanya, spankologist. He's a master and an expert in spankiology. Rod 10, a Glory Panther is a terrible and unwatchable movie. It's getting nominated for Best Picture is actually racist because it's so damn condescending. I couldn't finish it. It was very boring to me. Anyway. You think it'd be really cool, but it was pretty boring. You think you would like it too because, like I said, it has a lot of uh, right wing elements in there, like the people that elements that people often paint as right wing, but I didn't. It was boring. Guys, I'm not there for the politics. I'm not there for politicization. I don't care if it's something that I agree with, or it's something that people might think I agree with or presume I agree with. It's I don't want it. It doesn't matter. It's still boring. It's still something that puts me off. I think puts most people off. Let's see here. Let's go on a little bit longer. We'll move on to something else.
You're going to be called a slavery apologist if you don't think orcs are racist. Anyway, this is about the game The Witcher, and it starts off rather benign, but it escalates rather quickly. Now, this Twitter thread starts off, like I said, rather benign. Quinn asks, was the licensed Witcher RPG any good? And Amara responds back with, the one thing about it that seemed interesting was how it attempted to address balance of a party consisting of a sorcerer, a witcher, and the mundane folks Gerald would collect. Definitely more in a, I'd like to lift this for somewhere else. Now, if you're not familiar with the Witcher...
What'd you say?
Gerald, he said, but
Oh,
okay.
it's Geralt. I think it's like a medieval version of Gerald, I guess, but it's not Gerald. His name is Geralt. Let's see here. Insults the human race because they painted all right wing stuff as evil. Yeah, pretty much. If it's right wing, it's evil in their eyes, no matter what it is. No matter what it is, the evil and right wing is used the same. They're synonyms to them. Christopher Cole, he's a slavery apologist, he's a spanking apologist, and he probably kicks puppies. Yeah. Spanking apologist. I like that one. That one is the most peculiar to me. As a criminal imagination, in Witcher 2, he supports spanking, span cave fetishist 2020. Span King. Oh no, Superman. It's a Span King. He's returned. And it's like a villain who likes spandex or whatever. It's Semantic Dragon, Gerald of Rivia. That sounds silly.
Well, Geralt of Rivia, not to be confused with Gerald of Rivendell.
Gerald of Rivendell. Gerald of Rivendell versus Geralt of Rivia. I know who I have my money on.
Gerbil of River Run.
RPG. It is a game that is being put out by Untitled Games, and if you don't know who they are the creators of the original Cyberpunk Tabletop RPG. And this is the source material that is being used to create the Cyberpunk 2077 video game by CD Projekt Red. Now, for some context, I'm a big fan of Mike Pondsmith and his company Untitled.
Are you sure you're not Are you sure you're a big fan? Are you sure you're not just a bigot? What is it?
Are you sure you're just not a massive racist?
Yeah. Are you sure you're a big fan? Mr. Man here. Are you sure you're a big fan and not a bigot? Okay.
You want to pump out more soy boys that look like Will Wheaton? This is the inevitable result of all of this. This is where we're going. This is why we fight so hard.
And I think with that, we can go ahead and end this this coverage of this video. Because we have some more interesting stuff to go over. And I'm going to show you the article version of this first. And we're going to go into a video because Doomcock made a video on this. Because, of course, he did. He's always on top of these things. So let's see here. This is kind of good news. It's kind of good news for everyone. Check this out. New rumor reveals that George Lucas's initial reactions to Rian Johnson's Star Wars and Last Jedi and J.J. Abrams' The Rise of Skywalker. Now, what do you think, voicing the radio? How do you think George Lucas kind of took to The Rise of Skywalker, The Last Jedi, and For the Force Awakens? How do you think he liked them?
You probably wish he'd asked for more money before giving away his IP.
Yeah, I think that's what actually happened.
How much did he sell Star Wars for again?
I forgot exactly. It was several billion.
Was it $3 billion?
Something like that.
Or was it 300 million?
No, it was in the billions. It was in the billions. But it turns out that he might not have the most favorable view on Disney Star Wars. Check it out. I got a Doomcock video on it.
I thought he was brought in to help with the rise of Skywalker in the end, wasn't he? Or was he brought in and then they just sort of went, you know what, George, we don't need you. You can go home again.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
According to the leaks, according to what Doomcock told us, according to his source, George, they were so desperate and so scared that this was going to flop because they knew it was going to flop. I mean, it was inevitable. You can't follow up the something like The Last Jedi and not be a failure. So, or it's very difficult to. So they brought in George Lucas, and George Lucas gave him some tips and some tricks and everything. He said, "Okay, here's a Rise of Skywalker. We're going to have a secret Skywalker. It's going to be a secret Skywalker. We don't know what the George Lucas cut was going to be." But his cut apparently had a secret Skywalker this whole time.
Well, Darth Plagueis or what have you in it, or Darth Red, one of the older Sith emperors. It was going to be played by Matt Smith, I believe, who was the Doctor at one point.
Yeah, it brought him Matt Smith for something. But George Lucas's cut had like all sorts of interesting things that really brought it back to Star Wars. But they kind of looked at his stuff and said, "No, we're not gonna do this. This is dumb. Go away, George Lucas. Go away." So he's not a happy camper. He's not a happy camper at all. I see Matthew J. Nimnall. I bet you didn't know big fan is an anagram of racist. No, it isn't. Oppression. No, so when he's obviously when he's called themselves a big fan, it's a dog whistle to other bigots out there to just say that this is meant that they are bigots. Big fan, bigot. It's the same thing, folks.
Saying the word big gives an indication of scale, and scales are offensive to fat people.
Exactly.
Fan.
The word big fan and bigot is not homophobic. It's fatphobic.
Oh, it's homophobic.
It's homophobic.
How? It just is.
It just is. Okay. It just is. It's just homophobic. We don't know. We can't. If we have to explain it to you, then you. It's not our job to educate you. Okay. It's not our job to educate you. That's their excuse when they don't actually know how it's whatever they're calling it. So they say it's not my job to educate you.
If you don't get it, you're probably sexist.
Yeah. If you don't get it, it's not my job.
I'm just confused.
DJ Invoices. Lucas probably said, "Why did I ask for some of that money in Disney stock?" Should ask for Disney stock. He would have had a lot of stock by now, because considering how far Disney stock is dropping.
My friends, I have passed the 155,000 subscriber mark, and I want to thank all of you who have subscribed and who are members of my channel, joining at the Dumentite, Dominion, or Archvillain level, and gaining access to exclusive videos, emojis, and live streams. You guys are the best, and I thank you all very much for helping me meet this milestone. If you would, please check to make sure you are still subscribed. People get unsubscribed every single day. I've even had a channel member.
Yeah, this is true. Like I always say, I go between 104,600 and 104,800 subscribers. I just fluctuate between that number because YouTube does not like it when you stream. It's because you stream. So me streaming every day has killed my channel. My channel's dead, effectively dead. I stream every day. YouTube does not like that. You can either put up videos or you can stream. You can't do both.
Is that why you've now
Archvillain, get unsubscribed.
What do you say?
Is that why you've got another channel to put all these videos up on now? Or?
Yeah, because now that I delete the streams from this channel and put on my other one, it's gotten better. They stopped unsubscribing so many people from me. So it did help. It did help a lot. It helped immensely.
Nice one.
So,
cool.
So I can do both. I just need to go to the extra effort of deleting them off of this channel and moving them to the first edition channel.
Cool.
But apparently it's a way around it. It's still unsubscribe people, but it's not nearly as bad. Gemini Samimi, thank you much for 2. Good morning, LD. Just got Dr. Alpha. Really excited. Oh, fantastic. Appreciate it. Awesome. Let's see. So if anyone didn't know, Dr. Alpha got quite a bit of funding last night. Let me show it real quick before we get into this Doomcock video. I think people will be excited for this one. So let me get over here. Dr. Alpha, Miracle Child, still available on Indiegogo. Add some people back at the what I call the Andrew Huerta level, which is the hardcover level. Check this out. We're at 41,985. We are $15 away from breaking 42,000, which means that not only will next weekend be a video game stream, if we get to 42,000 next weekend and then the following weekend will both be video game stream weekends. So it's 15 more dollars, and we'll be there. So
Amazing.
fantastic! Thank you very much for backing it. Awesome, fantastic. And if anyone didn't hear or didn't know, I've ordered the posters that these perks come with. So, for example, if you get the hard copy, you'll get a poster of this cover here to hang up on your wall or whatever. I ordered these. I ordered several hundred of them. So, of course, if more people join in or whatever, they will get a poster. They'll get a poster. But when more people join in, I'll have enough for them. So, also, if you backed at beta class or above, you'll get a poster. Oh, I mean, it's all the way back at the bottom. You'll get this poster. You'll get this as a poster, and I've ordered these also. So as soon as they come in, I'll post them on Twitter or whatever, and you can check them out. But I've ordered them from Mixam, which is the printer I'm going with. So thank you everyone for backing it. Who has ever backed it so far? Appreciate it. We are just $15 away from hitting 42,000. It's fantastic. We're doing an excellent job. And of course, as you know, it becomes more successful, I can't help but add more and more stuff to it. And I'm currently writing the New Kid short story, so that'll be up momentarily within the next couple of days, hopefully. And there we go. Excellent. Everything it was going excellent, chat. Excellent. Let's go back to Doomcock, the wonderful, wonderful Doomcock. There we go.
Isn't that astonishing? Check to make sure you are still subscribed, and thank you for watching this video. My source has brought me a wealth of information allegedly from inside Disney or Lucasfilm regarding many aspects of Disney's Star Wars, including the struggle for the future of Star Wars being waged behind the scenes by Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Favreau, Kennedy and Headland's new female-centric Star Wars series.
Oh, did you hear about the Civil War going on behind the scenes at Lucasfilm? Were you here, or did you hear about that?
I was not here. I knew that Jon Favreau was pushing to take more control, but I thought that was exclusive to the Mandalorian show.
Yeah, the thing is, it's not a coincidence that the Mandalorian turned out to be the best thing out of Disney Star Wars so far. It's because Kathleen Kennedy wanted to make it like everything else, kind of ruin it. But so Kathleen Kennedy wanted Baby Yoda. She said she came up with the idea of the Mandalorian protecting a baby, but she came up with the idea of him protecting a baby. Favreau, I believe, came up with the idea of Baby Yoda. But of course, Kathleen Kennedy wanted to be a female Yoda, and she wanted everything to be. She demanded that Favreau to get a female director. You know, everyone has to be women. All have to be female run and everything. Favreau denied her and said, "No, Baby Yoda is a boy. Okay, I know Star Wars. Star Wars is a franchise that targets men. Okay, it's a man's franchise. So we're going to have a Baby Yoda. It's a man, and I'm going to get Dave Filoni in on this project."
To be fair, I don't think they ever. Do they ever say that Baby Yoda is male or female? I don't think there's ever any clarification. They're just like, "Hey, look at this weird green thing."
Yeah, they call it a child, but it's kind of assumed that because everyone calls it Baby Yoda, it's a boy.
It's gonna be a male, yeah.
Yeah. But apparently that caused Kathleen Kennedy to go on a rampage because he's not ruining the Mandalorian like he's supposed to. He's actually making a good show. It's overshadowing all of her stuff. So what happened was that there was a female-centric show that was shopped by Kathleen Kennedy that was rejected by Bob Iger. And as retaliation, she leaked this whole idea to the press, and the press ran with it and just touted it as something that was actually going to happen. Did you ever see that episode of House of Cards on Netflix where where Frank Underwood used a reporter to like float an idea of this person running for office, and then next thing that they knew, this guy was running for office or something like that, or something like that. Like the news came out first, and it forced their hand for things to happen in the real world. Essentially, what happened. So Kathleen Kennedy leaked this whole plan of a female-centric series. Even though Bob Iger said no, we're not doing this because all this stuff is ruining the franchise we paid billions of dollars for, and so the press ran with it, and it went everywhere, and it was rumored that Leslie Headland would be heading up being the showrunner, which, by the way, Leslie Headland was Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant, and you'll be taken down if you mention that or talk about that.
Mm.
And in fact, one of her shows, I think it's called like The Assistant or The Secretary or whatever. It's about her time as Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant. She was the woman who carried the condoms around in a purse, for when Harvey Weinstein was Weinsteining, when he formed his Weinsteining, and and what's even worse is that she has no pedigree in science fiction or fantasy works. She didn't work on, for example, like Babylon 5 or anything like that. She mainly does like sitcoms and like chick flicks and stuff. So there's nothing to tell us that she is going to be able to head up a Star Wars series to any sort of satisfaction to a Star Wars fan. So that's the kind of the repercussions of the war going on between Favreau and Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy wanted Favreau to ruin The Mandalorian. It's like Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams ruined the Star Wars franchise in terms of movies. But he refused to. He actually went against the grain. He rebelled against Kathleen Kennedy by making an actual good show. And she never forgave him for that. So it's been civil war ever since. So Kathleen Kennedy wanted a new show. She forced Bob Iger to essentially greenlight a new show that she can control that is female-centric. And that would kind of cater to all the things that she wants to put out. Let's see here. Okay. Now we have that established. We can continue.
And what's going to happen with Boba Fett in Season 3 of The Mandalorian. But the one thing that Star Wars fans have wondered since all this mess began...
What'd you say?
I'm pretty sure it's Season 2 Boba Fett's going to be in.
Yeah, he's rumored to be in there. They're going to be in Boba Fett. I think they're going to give him like his own project too. Not only are they going to be back Boba Fett, they're going to give him like his own movie or something. That's what I've heard. I think it's a rumor going around.
Okay.
But yeah, he's also rumored or speculated. I think it's more of a speculation that he's going to be in Mandalorian Season 2. I guess we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Right now, everyone's been fucking announced to be in Mandalorian Season 2.
Ashoka Tano and
Rex, whatever the ginger Mandalorian was. I've forgotten her name.
Yeah, everyone.
Something Catan? Whatever.
Yeah. Satine or something?
Sister of Satine, right? Whatever.
Yeah, everyone's going to be the Mandalorian. I guess we'll see who actually is in the Mandalorian. One person we know is the Mandalorian is...
Mandalorian, I guess.
Gustavo Fring is in the Mandalorian. That guy's for sure.
Kaga.
I want the guy to be in charge of like his own cartel or something. That'd be really interesting.
That is, what did George Lucas really think about the Disney sequel trilogy? And does a George Lucas cut of The Rise of Skywalker exist, as I reported this past Christmas? Well, my friends, I may finally have an answer for you. My sources sent me a number of rumors reportedly from associates of George Lucas revealing his comments and feelings after seeing each of the Disney sequel trilogy films, and I'm going to share them here with you now. Please bear in mind that I am not representing these leaks as factual. I cannot attest to the accuracy of this information since I cannot independently verify what I've been told. I'm only passing on what I've been told, so please regard all of what I'm about to share with you as rumor and take it with a grain of salt. So after George Lucas saw The Force Awakens, he compared selling Star Wars to Disney to selling your children to white slavers.
See, I knew he said that.
Yeah.
See, I knew he said that. He's referred to it as selling it to white slavers. I thought he was being, a long time ago when I first heard that clip. I thought he was being, hyperbolic. But yeah, it's essentially what happened. They're just domesticating Star Wars. They're just whipping it and torturing it and mutilating it to their own ends. So yeah, it's kind of like that. Just destroying his legacy. I feel so bad for George Lucas. This is his baby. Star Wars is his baby, and I think and I can only speculate because I've never met the man, but I'm thinking that he was so depressed, so downtrodden after the huge backlash from the prequels that I think he kind of sold the rights to Star Wars out of grief, like out of guilt,
Mm.
and out of negative feelings. He was so beaten down by the backlash from the prequels that he gave up and he sold his rights to Star Wars out of grief, which is pretty sad. And now he's just left helpless, watching Disney just pretty much put Star Wars to the passion of the Star Wars. It's a long trek of whippings and torture and spit and pain until they finally kill it off. However, it seems like Favreau is setting him is like the what's her name, the one who goes up and wipes the face of Jesus. That's Favreau right now. He
Yeah.
stopped the trajectory and is wiping the face of Star Wars. And he took away his own shroud of Turin, which is the Mandalorian. And maybe that's the one thing we're going to have left of old Star Wars. Shiny, you supposed Star Wars again? You want to come? Let me see. Because being in Shiny. Let me see. Let's see here. Voice. Do you know? Do you have the link? Can you send it to Shiny? Or if not, I think I can do it.
I can do that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because if Shiny wants to come on, he can. Here we go. I'll send it to Shiny. There you go. There you go. Invite sent to Shiny if you want to come on and talk about Star Wars, because this might take us a while in covering. Who knows? Unless we have more stuff to go over. We always have more nonsense to go over, Chad. There's always more nonsense. There's more Star Wars stuff after this, so we'll see what happens. And then when we get to done with the Star Wars stuff, we're going to get into the Star Trek stuff that I have pulled up. So much stuff going on, Chad. So much stuff. And then if we have enough time, we get past all of that. We have Chadwick Boseman, who's had been exiled from Black Panther, and the guy the creator of Black Lightning, wanting everyone to bow down to him like he's a god or something. It's really crazy stuff going on. Really crazy stuff.
That? What?
Geeky Vicky, Theme 2, Sharknado, better than all SJW projects. Absolutely. I saw Sharknado 6.
It was fun.
It was fantastic. I had a lot of fun watching that one. It was a lot of fun watching Sharknado. I'll tell you this right now, Chad. I had infinitely more fun watching Sharknado 6 than I did watching the horror show that was The Last Jedi. And welcome, Shiny. Welcome. Welcome to the Star Wars discussion. Let's see here. Okay, so the one service, Tanya, don't forget to tell Shiny that thing, which one? Which one was that? Which one was that? Which thing was that? Hold on, I'm still getting Shiny out of my basement, I guess. Because Shiny's ransom was never paid, so he's still tied up in my basement. Anyway.
So we don't really have to speculate about how Lucas felt after seeing his masterpiece get recycled into a process.
Oh, it sure can. Yes, absolutely. Welcome, Shiny.
It fucking, I don't know why, but it relayed to my Oculus Rift microphone, which is all the way on the other side of the room. It's like, why the fuck can't they hear me?
Whenever Star Wars is mentioned, the shiny one shall appear.
Speak of the Star Wars, and Shiny will appear.
You can't get rid of me. But I don't know if you know anything about this, because you were talking about why George Lucas sold his company. And I think it was revealed in Bob Iger's memoir, like his book or something. It was he said to George Lucas, they were talking about the future of what they're going to leave behind, and that's when it got put into his head about selling his company. But he wasn't planning to sell it to Disney. He was planning on passing it on to someone else. And I personally believe he was grooming Dave Filoni to take on his work, because he was treating Dave Filoni kind of like as his student, teaching him, his apprentice in a sense. And that's very much how it's always been a reference between George and Dave Filoni, that Dave Filoni was the person who was learning directly from George in the Clone Wars when he was working on the Clone Wars and a couple other Star Wars media, which Dave Filoni was consulted with as well. I believe he was he wasn't directly involved, but he was consulted with 1313. But yeah, what eventually happened was Bob Iger eventually called George Lucas up, and he, through a lot of time and negotiation, he said to George Lucas that, hey, look, I have the money that could take Star Wars a long way. You know, Disney has the resources, and we'll we'll look after it for you.
And then that's an awfully nice franchise you got there.
He said that, okay, well, I'm not going to sell it to you now, but I'll think about it. And then, kind of behind closed doors, that's when George Lucas put Kathleen Kennedy in charge, and then that's the sign that he then said, "Okay, look, Disney, I'm selling you my company." I guess he thought that. Another thing was that he was promised creative control. They didn't have to follow his rule, but they said he was going to write for the Star Wars film, but it wasn't written in ink. So they end up turning around saying, "Hey, look, we don't want your we're going to buy your script, but we don't want to do anything. We don't have to do anything with it. We do buy it." And they threw it away.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things that a lot of these weirdos from Marvel keep touting, keep championing. My comic was optioned for a movie, and they don't realize that being optioned for a movie is not really having a movie. Far from. You're just being optioned. Like someone might one day along the lines, like somewhere down the line, might make a movie about your comic book, but it's not a guarantee. Someone like just bought the script or with the rights or whatever. But yeah, I'm glad it was a trick, because the way I saw it, I didn't look into it, but from what I've seen, because I didn't look at the details, was that George Lucas might have sold his whole thing, his whole franchise out of guilt, or
I think it was actually. I think it was a part guilt, because George Lucas, he basically was. There has been a lot of things behind the scenes and things that George Lucas has said himself that have kind of just shown that a lot of what's been saying and getting to him, that's why he didn't make the sequels originally, because he did have plans to make sequels, but after the prequels backlash, he didn't. It might have been because a lot of fans were taking it like too far, but he took it very personally when people started heavily criticizing the prequels, and he said, "Well, if fans aren't going to be happy with this, then I'm just not going to do anything with it." And he started.
I can understand that completely. I completely understand where he's coming from. I mean, that's his baby. That's his heart and soul. That's right there, and they're just destroying it in front of him. And so I would see that. Yeah, okay, they didn't like it, and it was so disheartening to him.
But you can take things one way or the other. You can take it to heart that someone is criticizing your work, or you can look at if there's a reason why they're criticizing it, and if it's valid, and if that is valid. Things like the horrible dialogue writing, that's a very valid criticism within the prequels.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing about George Lucas is that he didn't seem like a very passionate man in most respects, like in a lot of respects in his life. But one thing he is passionate about, but then you can tell he has passion is for Star Wars, and that's where his heart and soul is. It's Star Wars is basically his like phylactery, whatever it is. Like, you destroy Star Wars, you destroy Lucas. That's where he invested all of his blood and sweat and tears into. That's it. You can kill the man, but you can't kill his heart, because his heart is in Star Wars. That's where he keeps it. And so it seemed like he failed his own franchise and feel like he destroyed it or harmed it in some way. I absolutely took it personally. It must have really, really hurt the man to see all of these fans that he wanted to please, that indulge in his world, become alienated because they did not like his movies. And of course, I remember him getting bitter and stuff like that. So it's all these feelings that are understandable, because this is the man's heart that you're talking about. And that's where his passion lies. I see DJM voices, which is fine. I appreciate that. Well, emphasize with George. while I empathize with George, considering how much he talked about loathing corporate meddling, he really should have known better. Yeah, he really should have known better, which is why, because I knew that about George. That's why he started in the first place, because he didn't want to play the game. He wanted to make his own game. He wanted to make his own platform, pretty much. He wanted to make his own comicsgate, so to speak. Called Moviegate. He was the original Moviegator guy. But the thing is, he really should have known better. Which is why I kind of came to the conclusion that at least in some portions, some respect, he sold Star Wars to Disney out of guilt, out of depression, because he was so beaten down by what happened with the prequels that he just couldn't handle it anymore. And he thought that Star Wars was going to be taken care of by one, Kathleen Kennedy, who he had trusted, and two, by Disney, which had a lot of funding that they can make excellent Star Wars movies, or they have the backing to get the special effects that he himself wanted to have. And pretty much from his point of view, almost near limitless resources. But yeah, DJ M Voices, he really should have known better. But I think he was not in his right mind when he sold the franchise.
He was very much thinking about what he's going to leave, because again, as you said, Star Wars is his child, his baby. He's very passionate about it, and he was very much manipulated by Bob Iger into his Bob Iger's the way he framed it all was that, oh, we're going to look after it, we're going to send it into the future, we're going to do this, that, and the other. And then the first George Lucas wasn't very happy because they threw out his script. And then they threw he was in the writing team for Force Awakens originally, but from I can't, this isn't confirmed, but apparently in the writing team, anything George said was immediately dismissed, and and that's what caused a lot of frustration within George Lucas, to the point where he just removed himself from the writing team, and that is he did remove himself from the writing team, and he has said that it is because he didn't go very well with the writing team. They were disagreeing, and he just felt it was best to cause it as least mess as possible, and that's what he came out and said.
That one Sarah Tanya, is that what you were talking about earlier? The tell Shiny something? To tell Shiny to tell Lord Commander Dunn to make the Chopes versus Orcs YouTube channel? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Shiny, go ahead and we need to convince Lord Commander Dunn to start a YouTube channel and call it Chopes versus Orcs, because he's the fantasy writer. I think he'd be perfect for the role. So,
if he's here, then I'll say it, but I'm not going to just DM him out of nowhere, say, hey, Dunn, make a channel.
Make a YouTube channel, call it Tropes versus Orcs, okay? You go over fantasy tropes and stuff like that. Fantasy writing. He's dedicated to a specific realm of fantasy. Call it Tropes versus Orcs, and how everything is racist and sexist and homophobic against orcs or something. I don't know. It's your channel. Whatever you want to do with it.
Cheese product unfit for human consumption. Lucas felt betrayed and upset when he realized that Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger had thrown out his own ideas for the sequel trilogy, discarding the carefully prepared and detailed outlines for the next 3 movies that Lucas had prepared. In his own memoir, Bob Iger confessed that while he had made it clear that Disney would not be contractually obligated to use Lucas's sequel trilogy outlines, he may have given Lucas the impression that Disney would implement his plans despite that. So when Lucas realized The Force Awakens had nothing to do with what he had written, he felt alienated and betrayed. Cut to when Lucas actually saw The Force Awakens. Lucas was alleged.
Just FYI, it was very early on when JJ came in to do The Force Awakens. Pretty much, it was very soon after JJ was there that George Lucas found out that his original ideas were being thrown out, and that's when he realized. He after that, he was still part of the writing team, and it wasn't until later that he left the writing team. And the comment about just clearing things up, to be more specific, the comment about him not being happy with The Force Awakens was from an early special screening for him, and his reaction was that it does nothing new. It's just terrible. It's not Star Wars to him.
Yeah, especially a reaction most people had, I think.
Yeah.
Or eventually,
In the beginning, yeah, like, people fucking lost their minds for this shit.
People were just hungry for Star Wars. I think people were just hungry for Star Wars, and
Just scoffing shit down their throats. It's like, oh, give me this. It's got Star Wars written all over it.
DJ and Voices. I best be getting a writing credit on that channel since it was my idea. We could, yeah, we'll tell him that. Tell him that. If he makes that channel, which I don't think he will. I don't think so. But
Probably busy doing his writing.
Yeah, we'll make sure to tell him though. Make sure DJ M Voices wants you to make this channel. And it was his idea.
What we'll actually do is change his idea so it's worse, and then say it was our own idea and we never promised him anything.
Or we change it to orcs versus tropes instead of tropes versus orcs. Anyway,
Allegedly very upset at how derivative and uninspired The Force Awakens was. In creating his own Star Wars films, Lucas had always taken pride in giving audiences something fresh and new with each film. There was little fresh or new in The Force Awakens, given that it was essentially an inferior knockoff of the original Star Wars. Afterwards, Kathleen Kennedy allegedly comforted George, telling him not to worry about it. Just wait until the next movie. You'll see, she reported.
Kathleen Kennedy, don't worry about it, George. You'll see. Just wait till the next movie. You'll definitely like it. Yeah, just so you know, the next movie is The Last Jedi. I'm pretty sure George Lucas's heart just broke in two when he saw that one. Let's see. Yeah, so Kathleen Kennedy just playing the evil, wicked witch of the West here. It's okay, George. You may not like this one, but you'll definitely like the next one. I got Ryan Johnson on this. He'll save Star Wars.
I'm saying that now. You go, don't worry. I got Ryan Johnson on this one. It'll be great.
Yeah, the man who killed Star Wars.
From now on, if there's ever a TV show in trouble and you say, it's okay, I've got Ryan Johnson on this one, you might as well, like, swan dive off a cliff for as much chance as you've got.
It's okay, don't worry. We have Charlie Kelly on the case. We have Mac, Charlie, D, and Dennis. They're going to fix the whole thing. We're going to get our business up and running.
They're going to fix the whole thing. Trust me, George. It'll all be sorted soon.
Like Candy's words are extremely cruel now because don't worry, George. Wait till the next one. Just wait till the next one. You think this is bad? Wait till you see the movie that pretty much puts the metaphorical gun to the metaphorical head of Star Wars and then pulls the trigger. Wait till you see that one, George. I'm pretty sure you'll like that one. I'm sure that'll be your favorite. The one that just ultimately murders Star Wars in front of your eyes.
That was his favorite part.
That was my favorite part.
Reportedly said. Cut to the next movie. George Lucas attends a screening of The Last Jedi. My source informs me that when George Lucas saw The Last Jedi, he said out loud, quote, "I've made a terrible mistake." Lucas was appalled.
I'll tell you what, that was my initial reaction when I watched Last Jedi. But just to going to go see the movie in the first place. Like, this is a terrible mistake. What have I done?
What have I
done? I spent money on this. What have I done? I'm pretty sure it was far more profound and emotional for George Lucas, though.
It's probably more like in Revenge of the Sith, where Anakin's just cut off Mace Windu's hand, and he's like, "Oh fuck."
Probably. He's like, "What have I done? You betrayed us. What have you done to us?" Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the moment where George Lucas's heart broke, and saw that Star Wars is dead. You just watched me a snuff film. You just showed me a snuff film where Star Wars is the victim. Guess what essentially The Last Jedi is? It's just a Star Wars snuff film where they kill Star Wars in the end.
Appalled. Even more appalled than he was with The Force Awakens. If Lucas felt betrayed by the first film, which prompted him to compare Disney to white slavers exploiting children in the most hideous ways imaginable, can you imagine how Lucas must have felt seeing Luke Skywalker turned into a milk-sucking freak, attempting to murder his
I heard that was the most profound and philosophical part when he drinks the milk from that weird creature thing. Obviously. Zofred, I got Last Jedi on DVD for Christmas. I haven't seen it yet, but don't. There's infinitely more things you can do that's worth more of your time than to watch that video.
I remember like way back ago, Geeks and Gamers, they didn't have Jeremy didn't have a disc of the Last Jedi, but he did have a disc of The Force Awakens, and he ended up he recorded himself smashing it because that people requested it. And I just remember shooting him a message after that video, and I said, "Did that feel good?" And he said, "Yeah."
Did it go well?
But it did.
Did that make you feel better?
Because the Last Jedi hates you. That movie itself hates you. It's a mind of its own, and it hates you. That's the whole heart of that movie. It's actually, it has the heart of the movie is that it has no heart. It's a soulless, empty, nihilistic movie that hates.
He doesn't like you.
Yeah,
I don't like you either.
That actively hates you. Zorfrat, every time my mom calls, she asks me about it. Oh, that's unfortunate. I guess she was the one that gave you the movie. How'd you like the movie? I haven't seen it yet. That's unfortunate. Oh, let's see here.
You say how? She says, "How'd you like the film?" And you just go up to her and you don't even smash the disc. You just smash the entire box. You just get your hands and you fucking snap it in half.
So I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
This movie should be held for war crimes. Ryan Johnson should be held for war crimes, of crimes against humanity. How dare you be the guy who made a movie so toxic that you killed Star Wars? You should be going to jail for murder, Ryan Johnson. Not there making more movies.
Nephew in his sleep, withdrawing from the galaxy and allowing the First Order to overthrow the Republic while he contemplated burning the Jedi texts? I've made a terrible mistake, Lucas reportedly said after seeing The Last Jedi. For a man as reserved as George Lucas, that's the equivalent of a lesser mortal wailing and rending his garments. This is the first...
I think I'm going to use that quote somewhere. I use that quote somewhere in my video. I made a terrible mistake. George Lucas upon seeing The Last Jedi. I think that'd be exactly the most fitting thing possible, because not even George Lucas liked The Last Jedi. All these people who like to defend The Last Jedi said that George Lucas thought of this idea. George Lucas thought of this idea. George Lucas would have this perfectly adheres to the idea George Lucas set down. And here we have George Lucas having seen The Last Jedi say, "Oh, I've made a horrible mistake selling Disney."
Fucked up.
So yeah, I've made a horrible mistake. So no, Last Jedi defenders. George Lucas is not locked step with The Last Jedi. He saw The Last Jedi and immediately said, "That $3 billion I got, not worth it."
No. Well, he gave most of it away, didn't he? He gave it to charity.
I don't even know.
Oh, that fool.
I should have bought it back.
Well, he didn't know he was going to need to buy it back. He said, "Okay, look, I can." The fact that he gave a lot of his money to charity is one of the things which definitely enforces the fact that he wasn't doing it for money. He was doing it because he generally he believed that Disney would be best for his child and his baby.
Let's see, Mad Courier 6, thank you very much for the 5. I'd pay all the money to see Luke cut Ryan Johnson in half with a lightsaber. You and me both. I'd pay all the money to see next movie. I want some sort of parody or something. Luke Skywalker just cuts Ryan Johnson in half with a lightsaber. I bet you we're not alone in that either. I bet you George Lucas would want that. I bet you Mark Hamill would want to see that. Mark Hamill was very, very displeased with how they portrayed Luke Skywalker in that movie. He wanted to play He wanted to play the Luke we knew. So all these people defending Last Jedi saying, "Well, you just want something different. I mean, you just want something the same. But we wanted something different." And George Lucas was locked in step. Not true. None of this is true. Mark Hamill wanted to play the same old Skywalker because that's what we wanted. That's what he wanted. That's what we liked, and that's what he liked. He wanted to play the positive hero that Luke Skywalker was. He did not like the way he was portrayed in the Last Jedi. And of course, we have George Lucas watching the Last Jedi and saying, "Oh, I made a horrible mistake. That $3 billion that wasn't worth it." Let's see, Hatch 450SX and Witcher 2. I'll say it again. F. Lucas, he left us for dead. Yeah, he kind of did. He kind of gave up on us. But I can kind of empathize with the guy. And regardless. Let's see, Mark in 3D. Thank you much for the 400 huffs of internet gas. Shiny, you 3D artists make Luke and versus Ryan Johnson now.
So while that would be great, I have to fucking work on actual making character molds.
Yeah.
But I attempted it and it didn't go well, so I need to properly learn that.
Yeah,
The one thing I had an idea for, which you would probably like, it's kind of like a weird Back to the Future thing. So like it was kind of just a joke I had just while I was a little drunk and while I was talking to my ex, and we were both just chatting, and I just randomly came up with the idea of so in Back to the Future, Doc sees, he watches The Last Jedi. He's like, "Dear great Scott!" And he goes in his time machine. He goes to like the Battle of Endor. It's like, Luke, something's got to be done about your future. It's like, what? It's like, do my kids become assholes or something? It's like, no, something's got to be done about you, Luke. You try and kill your was it your sister's?
Your uncle, whatever.
You're trying to kill your nephew. Oh my god, I've got to fucking fix this.
We got to go fix the future. Come on, Marty. Come on, Lukey.
I can't remember the exact thing because again I was a little drunk, but I just remember having that animation idea.
I kind of want to. I know it was like Doc Brown, but I kind of want to see like Yoda comes from the future, because of the ghost, and Luke and Yoda have like an adventure together to save the future.
Now I want to see, like, now you said Yoda, I've just got the image of like Yoda putting fucking like sunglasses on, just like, we gotta get to 88. Gotta get to 88 miles an hour, we do.
And we get or Obi-Wan, if not Yoda, then Obi-Wan Kenobi or something. Like, Luke, we have to save your future, Luke. Does it get what happens, Luke? Does it get ruined? From a certain point of view. Actually, from all points of view, yes. That'd be perfect. Back to the Future scenario.
Just another idea, just random, because we're talking about animation ideas. I had this. So the Battle of Heroes music, which were from Revenge of the Sith, where it's Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting. I kind of imagine. So you know the moment in Return of the Jedi where sort of like the camera's up on like Vader as he's watching Luke like be tortured, and he's screaming in agony, like begging for his father to help him. I imagined a sort of Vader's mind scenario, because one of the things I've always found very interesting is the focus on the fact that Vader and Anakin are completely different people. In a sense, Vader did kill the person who was Anakin Skywalker and became someone else. So like then it turns to 3D animation, and suddenly the camera pans to the side, and you see sort of like everyone around Vader's vanished, and you just see Anakin standing behind Vader. And then it's like, I won't let you kill my son. And then it's kind of this battle where it's like, you've taken everything from me. And then Anakin eventually defeats Vader, and that's when Anakin returns in his mind to Vader gets killed, and he becomes Anakin again, and that's where he saves Luke.
That's interesting. I mean, that could work. I kind of like that idea, actually. Tyler Preston has another good scenario. Doc Brown, Marty, we got to go back to the past. We got to save Star Wars franchise. We're stopping George Lucas selling it to Disney.
Fucking no, just kill Disney. Just straight up kill them. Just to stop the Disney from existing in the first place.
We gotta nuke Disney. That could be like that could be an interesting story for Dr. Alpha, actually. Doc, we need your help. What is it for? We need you to nuke Disney. Okay, but why?
No, it's like, yeah, but why would I do that? I'm evil. I want Disney to keep fucking ruining your franchise.
I own Disney. What are we talking about?
He's a shareholder.
I'm on the board.
That would explain a hell of a lot. Wait, does that mean we have you to blame? You created Dr. Alpha. Dr. Alpha created Disney.
And hatred leads to fear or something.
Hint I've ever heard of Lucas's feelings regarding The Last Jedi. It appears that Ruan Johnson also subverted Lucas's expectations as well as ours, which leads us to the rise of Skywalker. Once again, Iger reportedly marginalized Lucas by bringing him in for a screening of The Rise of Skywalker very late in the game. Lucas wasn't happy with it, but reportedly saw a way.
Here's a good question. Mad Courier 6, thank you much for 5. Appreciate that. Do you guys like Duel of Fates or Battle of Heroes more?
Oh, Battle of Heroes more. That might just be my own. Like, it's probably just my own bias because I like Revenge of the Sith more than I do Phantom Menace. So I just find there's a lot more emotion in Battle of Heroes.
I think I like a Duel of Fates. I really like that song. It's really really intense. But Battle of Heroes is also really good. Also really good. You still there, voice? Do you have an opinion on which song you like better? Well, I guess not. Let's move on then.
To make it a lot better. He pitched his ideas along those lines and was allowed to take a path.
Noble Commando, I am the Disney. Treason then.
He's too powerful to be left alive.
Yeah, he's too powerful to be left alive. Kathleen Kennedy's too powerful.
At re-editing the film to fix it. My earlier sources during the Christmas season claimed that George Lucas came up with the idea of a new hope, a new revelation of a secret Skywalker that would tie everything together and salvage the whole sequel trilogy. And at that time, a source told me that some of the reshoots had been staged to provide Lucas with new footage to assist him with his re-edit of The Rise of Skywalker. Well, this news source has not confirmed the secret Skywalker angle, but does maintain that a George Lucas cut of the film does exist, and that rumors of last-minute changes that leaked last December were referencing Lucas's efforts to save The Rise of Skywalker. My source tells me that after completing his cut of the film, Lucas finally got to see a screening of the final cut of The Rise of Skywalker at Skywalker Ranch. To say Lucas was unhappy would be an understatement. Once again, Lucas had been alienated by Disney and his wishes ignored. After that screening, some of the people on the team Lucas had worked with in creating his cut of the film started talking about how much of what Lucas had worked on was changed, how bad it was. Lucas had only now seen what Disney had decided to do with the final cut. According to
what a torturous moment. It's like it's like that scenario we see in movies. Like, oh, this is what a one for paradise, and you see how evil it is underneath. The mask drops, and it's actually a tyrannical society. It's kind of like the BioShock Infinite, where it seems like a really nice paradise in the sky, and then it turns out that everyone's racist, like horribly racist, like a Django racist. But you start killing everybody. The one servant of Satania. Yeah, voice. You want to voice your opinion? Thank you. I know. You sound like a comedian.
Sorry, I was getting a drink.
No problem. We had a super chat that asked which song do you like better, Duel of Fates or Battle of Heroes?
Oh, I like Battle of Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I'm the one that prefers Duel of Fates, but Battle of Heroes are really good. Battle of Heroes is really good also. And both songs are excellent.
Yep, it's of
My
course they're
sources,
excellent.
sources.
Oops. What did you say, Tony?
I was just gonna say, of course they're excellent. They're made by fucking. Oh God, why do I keep forgetting so many names?
It's made by that one guy. The one guy everybody knows.
No, I swear, I keep.
John Williams?
Yeah, John Williams. It's like I just keep freezing up on names. It's like it's the oh fuck. Who did this again?
And the guy, who's the guy who made Star Wars? Oh yeah, George Lucas.
No, I can never forget George Lucas. Never forget George. Hashtag never forget George.
Never forget.
Lucas was shocked at how much of his work was missing. This source claims there is a second movie that George Lucas worked on that no one ever got to see. When asked if the source with knowledge of this cut would reveal the difference between Lucas's cut and what we saw, the source wasn't comfortable in going into specifics at this time, but did comment, quote, "I can tell you this much, it may not have been a perfect movie, but it had a far better ending than that piece of shit. For my part, I want to see the George Lucas cut."
Wow.
I do doubt that that was what was said word for word.
I hope it was. What a hero.
Maybe it could have just that frustrated. Because I can imagine there could be a lot of frustration within Lucasfilm.
Oh yeah. Oh, no doubt. No doubt at all. What a hero. I wish George Lucas would say something like that. I wish he did say something like that. It'd be fantastic. No, well, it's like that movie. Well, this is impossible. He can't. It's really.
I thought it was leaked. I thought it was the guy who leaked that said it was they're better than that piece of shit, not George Lucas himself.
Well, I want George Lucas to say something like that. I want George Lucas to come out with a public statement saying, something along those lines. That'd be fantastic if George Lucas could say that.
In a couple of years, like he's going to have his company back, and he's just going to say, "Well, I can't believe I fucking allowed my company to turn into that piece of shit."
Exactly. Hopefully, I think a lot of Star Wars fans want George Lucas to come back into power again. Like I said before, he's like a Daenerys Targaryen. He's like Daenerys Targaryen. It's kind of like the old king that was kind of exiled, but that wants to reassert power now. It's like King Lear. You know what his story is? The story of George Lucas is kind of like King Lear. He kind of he wanted to retire as king, so he decided, okay, who loves me most? And I'll give you the parcels of land. And Kathleen Kennedy loved him the most, or whatever. And when she actually didn't, it's like the daughters of King Lear actually didn't, and she was just lying to him so that she can get all of his power, she can get all of his land and stuff. It's exactly what happened. So George Lucas is a modern day King Lear. That's a weird realization to come into the middle. It's an odd realization to come to in the middle of a stream. But George Lucas is very similar to King Lear in these respects. Poor guy. Now he has to see that his kingdom crumble in due to the mistake he horribly made. A horrible mistake he made. DJ Invoices. Lucas was shocked over how much of his work was missing. I was shocked over how much of anyone's work was missing. Yeah, no one put any work into this thing. The people who put work into the Disney sequels were like the special effects people and the CGI people, and of course the music. Everything else, the writing, not so much. They kind of phoned that in.
Of the rise of Skywalker. You would think that Disney, being so strapped for cash right now with the theme parks being shut down and production being halted across the board, that they would be eager for a new source of income. I cannot imagine why they wouldn't want to go ahead and give this man his say. Give a little bit of justice for George Lucas. Let the fans see his cut of the film.
You know, considering what happened by that point, right? Yeah, how much ill will the Star Wars franchise had at that moment, Disney Star Wars had at that moment, you would think they would, someone would come to the conclusion that no matter what George Lucas said, they should respect him, like publicly respect him, so that they can get some of that goodwill back. Because a lot of these people, as Star Wars fans, people were probably like saying, this is horrible. This is terrible. I want George Lucas back. So George Lucas is probably back in the good graces of many of his fans by that point, because he might have made the prequels, but he definitely didn't make the sequels, and that's a huge selling point to anyone. So At the very least, when the Rise of Skywalker, they could have said, "Okay, we've brought George Lucas back on, and we've brought him back. We brought the old king back to rule his kingdom for a little bit longer." And they probably would have given him deference. And at the very least, even if the movie was horrible, which it probably would have been, no matter what, they could have at least brought in some extra sales, just giving respect to Lucas. Not that hard of a thing to do.
That's it, going off the idea that there actually is a George Lucas cut, because that would imply there's been some corroboration of scenes put together, and I'm not sure George's ideas even made it to that phase.
Probably not.
So I don't even think there is a George Lucas cut to show. There's probably a script somewhere, but there's not going to be any footage of anything put together.
Well, I'll say this.
I doubt
there's been lots of reports, confirmed reports, of there just being reshoots a few weeks before the film was actually scheduled to air. So we do know for a fact that the shooting for The Rise of Skywalker was a complete fucking mess.
That's what I heard. Yeah, it was a huge mess. A huge mess. They kept reshooting and recutting, like almost up to the time they release it.
Redrafting, recutting, reshooting, redoing everything, which is why it's such a mess.
It's an absolute mess. It's a delightful mess, though. I really enjoyed The Rise of Skywalker for the mess it was. It was a lot more enjoyable than Last Jedi.
I'm surprised it's fucking coherent, at least to the level it is. I mean, it's not a coherent film by any means, but at least it's something.
It has characters in it, and it has scenes in it.
I don't think the scene where Rey just up and leaves for no reason. I honestly think that must have been a reshoot. That must have been, because no way that was in the original script. Because why the fuck would she just up and leave? It's like, hey, look, I'm just gonna leave now. Bye. What?
I mean, even the prequels are more coherent than that. Right? even the prequels
we have to get
than that.
Okay, so we've got footage here of Rey exploring the Death Star on her own, but she arrived here with everyone else. How can we get from A to B? We'll just shoot a scene where she says she has to leave because she has a feeling.
I got a feeling. That's it.
Feeling.
What? That doesn't happen several times in the movie. Why are you going to do this? I have a feeling.
Why not?
She does that 3 times. She does it once in the desert in Pisana. She does it again on the Star Destroyer over Kijimi, and then once more at Endor.
Yeah,
technically twice if you count the fact that she then leaves and doesn't go back to the rest of them. She pisses off to Luke's Island of Sadness.
Why did she suddenly just decide to isolate herself?
No idea.
Just out of nowhere, it's just like, oh well, may as well just isolate. Oh look, there's I see the coronavirus coming. I've got to leave.
She just thought it was like kind of the thing to do when you're depressed. You just kind of isolate yourself on a vacant planet.
There's no explanation for it. She just up and leaves and tries to burn the TIE fighter.
But the thing is also is that it was become tradition by now to use the Force as plot insulation. Just to use the Force. Oh, why did this happen? Because of the Force. Why did that happen? Because of the Force. They went overdrive on the Rise of Skywalker. It's just everything is because of the Force. I had a feeling. Force tells me to do this. Whatever it is.
The Force showed me the script.
They might as well have opened with, we found out Palpatine's returned. Rey goes and sits in her chamber and meditates, and then we cut back to Palpatine, and he has a heart attack, and then that's it. Think of what happened. So, Rey used the Force. There you go.
I survived. I spent all the fucking years building my infinite fleet of Death Star destroyers.
It's not even to mention the fact that the whole announcement that he's returned was not even in the Star Wars films. It was in Fortnite.
Yeah.
Because there is a broadcast. This is not in Star Wars. It's in Fortnite.
I am still just completely confused about why they drove the fucking Death Star destroyers through the ground. I just remember joking around with my friends. He's like, I have finally built my fleet of Death Star destroyers. I shall now rain fire all over the galaxy. And it's like, sir, we have a problem. And it's like, oh, what is it? It's like, well, you see, we've built all of our Star Destroyers underground, and we can't actually get them out. It's like, drive them through the roof. It's like, what? So that we don't want to do that. That's going to cause like a lot of damage. It's like, do it. It's like, oh, okay. So all of a sudden, the fucking Star Destroyers just drive through the ground. That they're all fucking. That's why they don't have shields, because all their shields have gone because they've driven it through the ground. And then it's like, okay, now we can finally leave. And he's like, sir, we have another problem. It's like, what is it now? Well, we need these things called these little thick little things here, and they're called wayfinders. We can't leave without one of those. It's like, shit.
God damn it.
I gave my last one to Uchi, and he never gave it back. Fuck that guy.
They could just like let him stay there or something, because he couldn't really get out, could he? According to the logic of the movie.
I'm not sure how any of the Star Destroyers were supposed to get out without the Wayfinder.
Do it. QC Warlord, they mentioned too. Well, the Metachlorian kept their mouth shut. So.
Do you know what they could have done? They could have, like, if they didn't destroy one of the Wayfinders, they could have just said, oh, look, they plugged the Wayfinder into the fleet. It's like, okay, I could accept that more. At least there would be fucking something.
Fortunately, that's not what we got, though. We got some ludicrous thing that just was cobbled together because they tested well. Ends up the racing, which is fine. Appreciate that. Unfortunately, sir, we built all the Star Destroyers below the ground and didn't install hangar doors. Palpatine, it is of no concern.
Do it.
You want us to drive from the roof? Do it.
Yeah, I think Palpatine might have lost his mind a little bit. His mind was destroyed a little bit in that explosion. He takes off his hood and like the back half of his head's just gone.
I think blowing up twice might do that to you.
He's there with his fucking burnt fingers. He's like, I broke a nail.
You broke your finger, sir. Oh,
hey, you. I need your hands. Unfortunately, mine are a little bit too fucked.
Let's see here. Almost done with the Doomcock video. See what else. Let's see how he ends this video.
And decide for themselves what should have been up on those screens this past Christmas. It couldn't possibly be any worse than what they have. But would it be better? Well, I can tell you this. The reason why they don't want to release it is because it undermines Kathleen Kennedy's agenda for Star Wars. It goes ahead and gives a little bit back to the fans. It is made with care by the man who started the whole thing going. A man who did this edit to protect his legacy. To go ahead and give something back to fans who have been so bitterly disappointed, who shared his own alleged and rumored disappointment regarding the Disney sequel trilogy.
I don't believe
I think this is
true. I seriously doubt they would have done it entirely out of spite. But from what I understand, George Lucas was going to be bringing in something called the Wills, which is a thing. And he was planning on getting like someone like Darth Bane or Darth Revan in as well to play the villain instead of Palpatine, or it was a ghost of one of them or what have you. And it was ultimate. This is all entirely through the rumor mill. The idea was that they wanted to play after The Last Jedi. They wanted to play things extremely safe, but obviously not too safe because they brought Palpatine back for some reason. But I suppose that's safer than introducing a brand new that your casual Star Wars audience may not have heard of.
The thing is that we know for a fact that some of the details of George Lucas's script have been leaked, and we know for a fact it was going to be heavily linked to Mortis from the Clone Wars.
Yes,
I believe he originally intended for the antagonist of the entire sequels to be some kind of re-embodiment of the sun. The embodiment of the dark side, because he is a big fan of like these kind of absolute
George Lucas weirdness. Yeah.
Let's see here.
So sorry, we'll be back in a moment.
No problem. John Reddick. The dark side is a path to many decisions. Some might consider stupid.
Some may consider stupid.
That's perfect. I'm pretty sure that's the exact mentality of the writers of the writers of the Rise of Skywalker.
Consider to be stupid.
Considered to be unintelligent.
Unintelligent.
Travesty. If this is true, I want to see the George Lucas cut, and I'm sure many of you out there feel exactly the same way. But will we ever see it? Will Kathleen Kennedy allow us to ever see it, given that it undermines her narrative?
Exist, that's why.
What do you say?
It doesn't exist. That's why. There is somewhere underneath a stack of notes a bunch of post-its with George Lucas ideas on that have been stuck on an A3 piece of paper, and that was his idea for the trilogy. And that's as far as they let him go. They did not. They wouldn't have shot anything else if it's that different to the rest of the film, because they had no fucking time.
Yeah.
So a cut doesn't exist. At most, there's going to be a semi-cohesive story that you can read.
It could have been.
It's not like there's a release. It's not like a release the Snyder cut type situation.
Yeah, because that existed. Now that was
that exists.
Yeah. So we don't know what exactly they did with the. As far as we know, George Lucas might have just put in stories.
There's likely a director's cut of The Rise of Skywalker, which would have been the one that had JJ with more control over what happened. Because he was heavily restricted as well, from what I've understood. I watched the EFAP where they covered bits and pieces of what JJ's spoken about and the difficulties he had with filming. So there's probably a JJ cut somewhere, but not a George one.
That could be a JJ cut. That would be actually pretty plausible. I think from what I've seen how they treat George Lucas, they don't treat him very well. So they might have brought him in, and he might have brought notes, but might not have done the filming of it exactly. At least not all of it. They might have done some of it, but they haven't done all of it. There wasn't there was a George Lucas movie version of that movie. Probably there was not that great, not that great of a chance. But his version was the one with the secret Skywalker and all kinds of other things that people would have enjoyed infinitely better than what we got.
I guess only time will tell, but I imagine we will never ever have a chance to witness George Lucas's final statement on the Disney sequel trilogy. But thanks to this source, we have at least a rumored glimpse into his true feelings on this matter. And there you have it. This is what I've heard regarding the history of George Lucas's heartache and disappointment when it comes to Disney Star Wars. I imagine between Iger's verbal but not contractually binding assurances of adhering to Lucas's sequel outlines and Kathleen Kennedy's lies about protecting his legacy and taking good care of his magnum opus, Lucas felt good about selling Star Wars to Disney. But if these rumors are true, we now know that by his own words, Lucas knows he made a terrible mistake. A terrible mistake, selling Star Wars to Disney.
I know it's dark, but that's my favorite part of that whole thing. Where hearing the story about George Lucas, watching The Last Jedi, and then saying, this was a mistake. The $3 billion I got was not enough. It was just no comfort to me.
A mistake that has cost him and his fans dearly. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends.
Thank you very much, Dictor Van Doomcock.
Good shows there.
Fantastic. All right, then we got another. We have something else. Star Wars. The Star Wars nonsense isn't end yet. Oh, it's still coming along. And now they censored Princess Leia. This is one by your boy Yellow Flash. Apparently they're trying to get rid of the.
What have they done?
The slave Leia outfit. Now she's the Hutt Slayer.
What's going on, everybody? It is May 18th. It is a Monday. Hope you're doing all right. So we're talking about Star Wars because there's something that came up that I really wanted to talk about that I thought was pretty interesting. I wanted to start things off here. If you remember, a few weeks ago, we did a video talking about, how there was no demand for toys based on the new Star Wars.
Oh, that's what you hear about that one, where there's a big company that came out and said that there's no demand for new Star Wars toys. Like, no one wants Rey. No one wants Rose Tico. No one wants these people.
Is there any way we can change the resolution, by the way? Because it's rather blurry.
I don't know with this, because it's been loading for a while.
It seems auto, even though it says like 1080p, it's like still low. So you actually have to go up and you have to select 1080p.
There we go. I'm gonna take off screen for a minute.
YouTube working as intended.
There we go. Okay, so
Auto is just
Tyler Preston, thank you much for the 5. Appreciate that. Hey, Palpatine, why didn't you create an army of clone Siths, Palpatine? In hindsight, I think my plans far. I think my plans aren't far enough. Yeah, because he can make clones of Snoke, and he's a powerful.
He just make. Oh no, he doesn't make clones of Snoke. He just straight up makes Snokes. He's got a Snoke factory.
He just makes Snokes. He makes powerful Force users. So why? He spends time making infinite ships. Why don't you just make a bunch of Snokes, like an army of powerful Force users that are under his command?
Because
one can never have enough Snokes.
I'm pretty sure that's the only reason. Because, even a guess, exactly, Alex.
Why is Rey's face so melted?
I don't know. And the whole thing is that they want to sell Star Wars toys, but there's no demand for it. There's demand for, I think, old Star Wars toys, but there's no demand for the new stuff. No one wants Rey. No one wants Kylo Ren. Definitely no one wants Rose Tico. I think people would want Jar Jar Binks before they want Rose Tico, or even Rey. They said that they have like 2 items that kind of sell.
I'm sure the demand for just putting Jar Jar on the fire is higher.
I think so too.
Oh no!
You know what's so ironic here is that so Hello Greedo was like, a lot of the skits he did involved like burning prequels toys, and then he came out saying like something along the lines of, oh, look at these stupid people who are destroying toys of Rey and Rose Tico. Like, he fucking burned a Jar Jar action figure.
Yeah, suddenly it's something he likes, and the rules change. Well, he's not a detail-oriented guy,
Oh, God, but he's done so many of the same things. He has been very extreme on his feelings towards the prequels, and it's bizarre. So he's like, okay, so he's fine with the so he's fine with people, doing stuff to the prequels, but when it comes to sequels, then that's just telling people they can't do something. That's just you're trying to say that George Lucas can't be creative and have Jar Jar Binks? Is that what you're trying to say, Hello Greedo? Because it seems like what you're trying to say.
He's just a massive hypocrite. That's all.
I know.
So there's nothing in depth about that. It doesn't go deeper with Hello Greedo. Okay, he just. I guess he hasn't realized how much of a hypocrite he is.
No, with Hello Greedo, I think his channel would flow better. He was honest and just call it Hello Hypocrite. I think.
Hello.
And you have the alliteration and everything, it would work a lot better, I think. And people know what to expect. It tells you right from the beginning. Oh, this guy's a hypocrite. Fantastic. We know what we're getting into.
Hello, idiot.
Oh, my mouse is double clicking me.
Nobody wants the characters. You had the owner of a collectibles website that makes really nice figures, like the bus and the statues and stuff, and said, look, we don't make new characters because nobody wants them. If there was demand for it, we would make it. So I thought that was pretty funny. You can really tell how popular something is based on the merchandise. It's true. And people still want that original trilogy stuff. They don't want Rey. They don't want Admiral Holdo. Look at this. They made a Black Series figure for her. I imagine that's sold pretty.
They definitely don't want Admiral Holdo.
Oh, if it looks like that, they don't.
This thing looks haunted. It's just there to look at you like they hate you or something.
That's just Holdo. That's just Holdo, the character.
Of a middle-aged man with a purple painted broom handle head on its fucking.
Her hair looks like a mop. Like
Yeah.
a dirty, filthy mop. That's what her hair is.
And purple stuff.
So let me just. Where's my? I have a really fucking nice Captain Rex Black Series right here in front of me. Oh my god, it looks gorgeous. This thing, this Captain Rex like Black Series, I love it so much, and it's just all the details on the helmet and the armor and the face looks great. Like it's beautiful, and then you look at that. And you look at that thing. This is made by the same fucking company somehow.
We didn't care. That's what it says.
And knowing that, are you surprised no one wants this stuff? No one is asking for a Holdo. No one's asking for Ray or Tico or whatever. The one service to Tanya, this guy is a hypocrite. Fantastic. Me. Yeah, at least we know. Oh, this guy's a hypocrite. Okay, well, I'll watch his video, knowing he's a hypocrite. Fantastic. Awesome. At least he's honest about it. And plus, hello hypocrite flows better. Get that alliteration factor going in.
I'll just send you the image of this Black Series toy. Like the face as well is pretty good.
Oh, it does look good. It looks way better than Holdo. I could say that right now. Way better than Holdo.
Mm-hmm.
Poorly. Nobody wanted that. Oh, what a terrible character. So, Disney has really done their best to ruin these characters and this franchise, and it's just funny to me how you can just destroy an investment. They spent a lot of money on Star Wars. But this
is kind of what happens when you try to make a franchise that's predominantly for men, try to make it more for girls. It's not going to work. Like what if you made it? What if you had tried to go to like these? Bro, we're trying to make Twilight more for boys. It's not going to work. Yeah, you can add more fight scenes in, but it's still Twilight. Okay, I'm still not going to go. It's still a story about a vampire falling in love with a random average girl. I don't care about that. I'm not going to put in more fight scenes. There's a big battle at the end, and I still haven't seen it. So I don't care. Okay, you can try to appeal to us, but it's not going to work.
There is as much as it's kind of in a way it's kind of a little bit stupid, but there is such a thing as target audiences, and while I don't really agree with target audiences that much because when you're saying this is aimed towards men, this is aimed towards women, because I honestly find the whole idea pretty stupid. And what's the funniest part is this was being pushed by the more leftist industry of like Hollywood and just kind of like the new medias in general. They still push this. But while I disagree with it, because obviously while Star Wars is more sort of like more towards the male target audience, women can still enjoy it. But there is such a thing. The reason why they exist is because for whatever reason, like men are more in general are more orientated towards this thing. Women in general are more orientated to that thing. And there's lots of reasons why this could be, but it's just a pure fact that this is what appeals more to these people in general.
Well, yes, it's two parts. It's always good to be working with a target market, essentially. Mm-hmm. But you do not have to be a 13-year-old boy to enjoy Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
It's not it's two different things, and it's not being said.
Yeah. Even then,
just because the target market is like young to young adult male, that doesn't mean that it's strange for a 40-something-year-old woman to enjoy Star Wars.
Absolutely not.
Even then,
when you make it the franchise, you have to cater it toward the people who you're catering it towards. That's why genres exist.
But the female audience of Star Wars likes Star Wars for it being Star Wars. They don't. Again, there are a couple of people I can think of in general, but the strongest one is my ex, who was really passionate about Star Wars and hated new Star Wars with passion.
Women like Star Wars. They tend to like it for the same reason the men do, because it's about heroes and stuff, but bad guys getting defeated by good guys. They tend to like it for the same exact reasons that the male Star Wars fans like Star Wars. They try to do what they're trying to do now is, quote, make it more towards, steer it more towards girls. And you're going to alienate the old fans because they're not there for that stuff. And you're going to probably fail to achieve the fans you're trying to target because they're off doing their own thing. They're off already indulging in things they already like. They don't need to come to Star Wars because they made a small concession. It's still Star Wars. If they didn't like Star Wars to begin with, they're not going to like Star Wars now just because you put more women in it. And see, Alex Halo, thank you very much for 5. You know, you put more like Jason Momoa with the shirtless scenes and stuff, and then you might get more women audiences. Okay.
It works for Aquaman.
Yeah, but putting Rey in there and making her like drab and plain looking, and then have no romantic lead or anything like that, no romantic interest, and just make her awesome everywhere. That's not going to appeal to women.
The amount of girls who say they like Anakin Skywalker purely because he's attractive.
Yeah, it's probably a large group of people. It's probably a large group of women who like Anakin Skywalker because he's attractive. And I'm not surprised. And that's how I would expect it to go. Alex Halo, thank you very much for 5. Appreciate that. Shuro from Fate at least knows he's a hypocrite. It's part of his character development and the second route of the end. Well, at least he knows. At least he knows. I remember that episode of Scrubs where they actually highlight the hypocrisy of some of the doctors, where Dr. Kelso is saying he's talking to a patient who's a heavy smoker, saying, "You know, your smoking is killing you," while Dr. Kelso was smoking a pipe. So there's like, your smoking is killing you. Oh, it's delicious. Oh, delicious tobacco here. Like, so yeah, hypocrisy is there. At least they know the hypocrites. It's like how a doctor might tell you that you shouldn't eat sweets because they're bad for you, but the doctor eats sweets. They're being they're just being a hypocrite there.
Dentist.
Yeah, or dentist, probably a dentist.
The dentist, like, he's like, "Oh, look, don't eat sugar because it rots your teeth. Here, have a sweet."
Yeah, have a sweet. Or capitalism is evil. Thanks for $10 super chat. That sort of thing. CQ Warlord, very much too.
Capitalism is evil. Buy our movie. Go watch our film. Capitalism bad.
Capitalism is evil, but we're going to charge you $200 for this DVD set. It's to instill inside of you how evil capitalism is. Maybe that's the plan. QC Warlord, thank you too. Did toys like BB-8 sold at all? It was cute and all. I don't know. I don't think so, because according to the people who sell these toys, there's no demand.
I would say things like BB-8 probably have sold, but maybe Finn, but characters like Rose, characters like Holdo, they have most definitely not sold. Because again, you keep in mind that a lot of toys, the toy sales went up drastically when The Force Awakens came out. So a lot of the toys were being sold then.
It's kind of the same argument that these comic book creators say nowadays, or at least American comic book creators say nowadays. They say that people just don't want comics anymore. They don't want superhero comics anymore. But the thing is, people want superheroes. People still want superheroes. People still want comics. People still want superhero comics. It's just that they don't want your superhero comics. And so people still want toys. People still want Star Wars toys. They just don't want your Star Wars toys.
Yeah. Yeah, because I haven't totally bought this Captain Rex Black series because, I wouldn't want anything like this Captain Rex Black series for characters I like.
Yeah, I mean, you probably bought it because it came from a quality show. And he's a quality character, rather than a nothing that's just there for political reasons.
This one was really, really a big head scratcher for me. So check this out. So Hasbro bends the knee, refers to Slave Leia as Hutt Slayer in contest. So we're of course referring to Princess Leia. This is from Return of the Jedi. I don't think I need to explain this too much, but here's some cosplayers right here and having some fun wearing the costume. And this is what it is now.
I like this one. Ben Z. Capitalism is evil, says the woke Hollywood elite from the mansion surrounded by gates and guards. Yeah, totally evil. I'm totally buying it from you, weirdo actors, that capitalism is totally evil, even though capitalism is the only reason why you have mansions and guards. Okay? You're not essential to these actors are not essential to society. There's no, the what's the old thing? To each of his needs, to as much you get as much as you need, pretty much. You are not worth that much, actors. You are actors, okay? You're not. If we lost all actors today, okay, we would not. We would still function in society. Okay, you're not an essential worker, actors. So, when you say capitalism is bad, while you're from your mansion, and you only have because of capitalism, because we value you as an actor, because we like you, and we vote with our wallet. I'm not really buying that. Okay, I'm not. It's kind of a. You could say you can hate capitalism all you want, but as long as you're doing it from your mansion or you're flying from place to place in your private jet, I'm not going to believe you. And Daniel Lindsay, I work at a party store, and almost none of the Disney stuff sells, but the stuff with the OT characters sell regularly. See, there you go. They want this Disney stuff does not sell. The Disney Star Wars stuff does not sell, but the people still want Star Wars. And just because they don't want Disney Star Wars does not mean that the Star Wars hunger has faded away. He will still want Star Wars. It's still a very good product. It's just kind of dead now because Disney kind of smothered it in its sleep.
Oh, so if you go over here, I just wanted to point out this came from Bleeding Fool. Ichibaka wrote this, so this is his find. I just want to talk about it. He made a funny picture here with Kathleen Kennedy. So you go over here. This is a Star Wars The Black Series Archive Fan Vote 2020. At Hasbro Pulse, fans come first. Yeah, I'm sure they do. That's why we're counting on you to choose the next Star Wars The Black Series Archive collection figure. Thanks to all the fans that participated in the first round of voting with the fan media sites based on the results of the first round. We are excited to present the final 10 candidates. As a reminder, the winning figure will be added to the Star Wars Black Series Archive collection line in 2021 and will be updated using photoreal technology. Just cast your vote. And then, of course, you would pick or whatever, right? So here's what's going on. Check this out. So
Cody, I vote for
Django,
Cody. I vote for
Greedo,
Cody.
Clone
Go.
Commander Cody.
What was it? Jin Erso.
No.
Well, he's slave. Everyone's vote for Slave Leia, obviously, right?
I'm either voting for Commander Cody or Ahsoka because I want a better looking Ahsoka than that bloody Rebels version.
It's got to be Qui-Gon, right?
Qui-Gon.
No, I'll take Commander Cody over Qui-Gon.
And see, Christopher Cole, hold my Starbucks soy latte while I type on my iPad on how evil capitalism is. Exactly. They don't understand what kind of conveniences they were allowed because of capitalism, and what they're allowed to do because of that. But Jyn Erso, who wants a Jyn Erso toy? I barely remember her.
She's pretty much got no character, or at least she has a little bit of character, at least more than Rey.
She's another standard issue, bland female brunette Disney Star Wars lead. Like there's another brunette, another bland faceless character. It's just another one. You might as well just replace her with Rey. I mean, might as well. They don't have any personality. Nothing at all. They're just blank slates.
No. Again, as I said before, that at least a blank slate has a slate when it comes to Rey. But at least Jyn Erso has somewhat of a slate to be blank.
A little bit. So I would take Qui-Gon Jinn over Jyn Erso.
Like, look at that beard. That beard has so much more character.
Not as perfect as Obi-Wan's, but it's still good.
Yeah. Yes.
Jyn Erso, Qui-Gon Jinn.
Princess Leia Organa, Hutt Slayer. That's what she's known for. She's known as Hutt Slayer. I guess it's technically true. I just think of Goblin Slayer.
No, I'm surprised that even giving the option for Slave Leia at all.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like sexist or whatever. Let's see, insulting race. More than Rey, clearing a bar, laying on the floor doesn't count as much.
No. It's like when you're trying to make something better than Rey, that's not lowering the bar to the floor. That's you pelting the bar into the fucking underground.
That's having a bar in the first place. You want to do something better than Rey? Then bring a bar with you. They don't have one.
Rey forgot to bring hers. He just kind of took Anakin's, and there's like, look, I can't quite reach this.
And that's good enough, right? That's good enough. As so friends, that beard has more character. I mean, you're not wrong, but that beard does have more character. The engineer so does.
Jin, Princess Leia Organa, Hut Slayer, Ahsoka, Clone Trooper, Princess Leia Organa, Bounty Hunter, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Wait, they don't have an Obi-Wan?
or,
Okay, that settles it then.
Return of the
Obi-Wan from Return of the right? Return
No, they
of
have.
the Sith.
Okay, so there have been past versions of these. So there has already been an Ahsoka Tano in the past. This is the 2021 release. So I think this is series 4 or 5. They have series of Black Series. So they have done Ahsoka Tano before, but this time they would re-release it either in a different costume, or they would make drastic improvements over the last one.
Oh, okay.
So yes, they have done Obi-Wan's before. They have done Ahsoka. I think they might have done a Cody. The thing is that there has been a large push for Clone Wars characters. Wolf got his own Black Series, I believe in the last one. So I need to fucking check that because it didn't come out in the Black Series.
Wait, does that mean someone voted for a holdout, or is this like something they don't do all that often?
No, they do it for specific characters. So these are more characters who are in more obscure media or in past movies. So the characters in new media, they're already got a place on the Black Series. But these characters who are from the TV shows, who are from the comics or from the games, they are in the past. Any past character, pretty much, they have to compete. Which is why it's Cody or Ahsoka or Clone Trooper or Obi-Wan.
Say John Doe, Rey isn't a blank slate. She's a jigsaw puzzle, but all the pieces are the same shape and are bare cardboard with nothing on them. Slot them in however you want, makes no difference. Yeah, it's very, very bland. Very, very bland. There's the illusion that something is there. I don't know why my mouse is double clicking today. I have no idea why.
Sith, sorry. So, this is the big deal, of course. So, now we're not going to say, the Slave Leia variation. We're going to change it. We're going to get rid of that, and now it's going to be Hut Slayer. I don't know where the name came from. It might have been, I don't know, due to the fact that, Jabba the Hutt enslaved her. And she did take him out. She did, rise up and end him. But still, it's just a fun name. It doesn't mean anything. But because because Disney wants to appeal to these people, these weirdos so much, they've nerfed it and made it more PC appropriate, which really kind of blows me away. Now, I don't know whose decision this was. This could have been Hasbro's decision. This could have came from Disney. Until they offer more merchandise and officially make that the final saying, we won't know. But I could swear they've had no problem using Slave Leia before. I'm pretty sure old figures that had her in the bikini had that name. So I'm blown away that they're just now finally changing it. The name's been used for 30 years. I mean, you could see it right here. I wanted to...
Now she's Hut Slayer. I think it's the only way that they're allowed to use that Slave Leia is by giving her more of an empowerment of a name, giving her more empowerment or whatever. Now she's gone from Slave Leia to Leia Organa, Hut Slayer. It's the only way that they're allowed to do that these days.
To double check, right? I mean, here we have a Revenge of the Jedi toy, Princess Leia's slave outfit, right? So it's been used before, okay? But now we're going to change it to Hut Slayer. It's just more dumb decisions. I have to wonder, though, did this come from Disney or Hasbro? That's the question I have. Now, I'm going to guess that this probably came from Disney. Disney told them to change it. It's just more of them meddling with things and changing it for some stupid reasons. There was no reason to change it. And I guess, some people will say, who cares? It's not really a big deal. But to me, it's just more things that add up, more damaging stuff to the original trilogy. It's just like, just leave it alone. Fine, you got your garbage new movies. Please leave the old stuff alone. So she's now the Hut Slayer. That's the Hut Slayer costume. Really has the same ring, doesn't it? Does it roll off the tongue just as good? So anyway, I'm curious to what you guys
Have you seen Goblin Slayer? Have you heard of that show?
I know of it. I haven't seen it.
It's a really good show, but it's just funny because now they're calling her Hut Slayer. It's like
You see, what you want to do right now is you want to rub out the L, the A, the Y, and the E, and the R, and then you replace it with something else.
You certainly do. You certainly do. Oh, that's just fantastic.
Just take the S out and leave a space.
Hutler. I think that maybe that's implied. I don't know. Let's see here. Well, we'll go ahead and shut the video off here. We're reaching like the 2 hour and 45-minute mark. So we're going to close up the stream here. We're going to check out Dr. Alpha one more time before we head out. And there we go. And awesome, fantastic. Thank you very much. Whoever backed it, awesome. Now we have crossed over the 42,000 line. We had $42,045.
You already did it.
So that means that tomorrow, next weekend, or this coming weekend, will be video game streaming, and then the following weekend will be video game streaming also.
Amazing.
QC Warlord, the Witcher 5, appreciate that. In Legends, Huts bosses were rarely killed during conflict. In the EU, Leia killed like 3 well-known Hut, and I think got that nickname in the process. She really is a Hut Slayer. That's awesome.
So what game are you going to be playing on stream?
For now, we're going to be continuing Danganronpa. Which is pretty fun so far. Zofrats, congrats on 42K. That's amazing. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Awesome. And thank you, the person, whoever backed the comic book. Awesome. Because we were at the beginning of the stream, we were $15 away from 42K, and someone backed it. That's amazing. Appreciate that. Thank you very much, whoever did that. I'll look into it later. And even if I did, I don't want to dox you on stream or whatever. So I don't know. Go me to let you know. But whoever backed it, to the person who backed it before, since the stream began, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. We're now at $42,045 because of you. So that's amazing. It's fantastic. I really appreciate that. So with that bit of good news, go ahead and close out the stream here. So I want to say thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Shiny. Thank you, Voice. Thank you for joining me. Hope you had some fun. And hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. And of course, I will see you all